What's up, guys? Welcome to another Hobbits of Cheshire stream. Once again, sorry we couldn't make it on Saturday, but we are here now to discuss both Battle of Clyde Water and also the Grand Tournament. Unfortunately, neither of us could get to the Battle of Clyde Water, which was in southern Scotland, I think. Is that right, Josh? Or
I don't know. The top three implies it was somewhere in Scotland. So.
And then the Grand Tournament you went to, but I couldn't make it, so we'll have some discussion about that. But first off, slightly because laziness of me, you guys will be able to see a picture of Dernhelm on your screens. So there's been a few, there's been two releases, or is it only one release? Elfhelm, I think, is the only release. So one release and then two brand new models, but also showing off the Dernhelm model a bit more. So those are, I don't think we've got any release dates at all, as far as I know. But yeah, so this is the new Dernhelm model, which I think is incredibly highly sought after.
Yeah.
A lot of people want this.
We'll be seeing a lot of this model. It's going to be real great.
Yeah.
Getting to my back a turn from gambling. It's going to be real fun.
So one, it looks amazing, and two, it's actually really strong. Oh.
Yeah, it's cool to have you actually be able to play the profile together, as opposed to the Gandalf one with Pippin, where you can't. It's the main reason I don't buy the model is because I can't really use it.
Yeah.
I don't really want to.
The only passenger rules that is currently in the game?
Yeah, currently legal in the game.
Yeah.
They need to do one for Legolas and Gimli too.
Yeah, Legolas and Gimli. Surprised they didn't do one for the Gandalf, but I suppose because it wasn't... Oh, go on.
No, Jay said it was they'd never really fought together, which is kind of true. Like you just rode out to fight the Nazgul. Pippin was just there, but it's also because I think it'd make Gandalf 3 attacks, like 4 might, 9 will with Shadowfax or something.
Yeah.
And then
fine.
And then he'd be resistant to magic as well as being like a 9 will wizard, and he'd be able to cast Fortify. And I think they stack. Like I can't find anything that says they don't. They might not.
So you'd get 3 points of will for free plus the staff.
If I'm right, I might be wrong. It sounds silly, but
that sounds completely balanced for me.
Plus 1 will from Pippin, plus 2 will from Radagast. So that profile just sounds crazy. Yeah, sorry,
not Radagast.
Same thing.
Gandalf the White and Pippin riding Radagast into battle.
They have an awful lot of will.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. Alright, Dewey seems to be in the chat. Look forward to hearing what Josh thought of our game.
It's going to be great.
Have you watched the stream back?
I have, yeah. Actually, they point... I'll talk about it later, actually. Whatever.
So this is the Dernhelm model, and the first one, which is actually being released now, is Elfhelm. So he was profiles in the Gondor Warbook, but the model kind of came out of nowhere. It was announced and then released, or pre-orders went up pretty much the same week or something like that, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. It came out of nowhere. It's a really nice model. It's like nothing you normally see in Lord of the Rings.
It's a very different Rohan model.
I don't know. It might just be the paint job, but it looks more like a Skibor miniatures model. I like them. I like those models too, but it doesn't fit with the rest of the aesthetic. I think it's one of the coolest models they've done in a while though.
Yeah.
Like I think the poses are really cool and the model's really cool. Yeah. It's cool that they break from it, but yeah, it doesn't look super similar to a lot of the other stuff they do. Kind of interesting.
Good old Dave Shearer's in the chat, just building Elfhelm right now. Ooh. So is that going to be for Stockport, Dave? Rocking Rohan myself, I'm thinking. Be cool to see.
Yeah, but it won't be an all-mounted one, will it?
I don't know, maybe.
Won't be the standard Rohan build.
Probably not. So this goes out, and then we've got 2 guys to see now, which were revealed. These were revealed at the seminar of the Grand Tournament. You've most likely seen these, but in case you haven't, first up we've got Rouser. So this guy is an addition to the Serpent Horde Harad list. He's also in the Legendary Legion, I believe.
I can check.
I'd assume he is. But yeah, we spoke about him in the last episode. But yeah, it's cool. It's a very nice model. It's actually been awesome seeing all the conversions people have done.
Yeah, he is in the Legion.
Is he? Yeah. Because I know quite a few people took it to the Grand Tournament, didn't they? So obviously they had to convert him.
Yeah, it's because he's sort of like a free mate hero with
Yeah.
Bane of Kings, which is kind of nice. Harad don't have a lot of free
And
white heroes.
3 attacks as well, right?
Yeah, free attacks with Bane of Kings is really good. But the model's pretty cool. I like it. I think it fits with Harad.
Yeah.
It looks kind of plain, but I kind of prefer that for that type of profile. Like when you have like a free might captain that looks radically different, it can stand out more than he should. I think.
I think
Yeah, like, I think Elfhelm, the Elfhelm model looks like he's a cooler hero than he is in game.
Yeah.
Just because the model looks so like the Elfhelm model looks like he should lead the entire army. Like Faden should be taking a back seat. But,
yeah, I think my only worry with this guy is he may blend in a bit too much.
yeah, I mean technically that's an advantage.
Yeah.
People might not see him.
Let's see. Raza looks a lot better with an alternative heads. Yeah, that's a good shout from.
Apparently there's a second head in the kit.
Oh, is the 2 heads?
With
Okay.
the alternative head implies there's 2.
I haven't seen that. Yeah,
There's a lot
everyone's
of people
getting
in
in.
the chat. Holy shit.
Dan Hookville, Chris Murphy, Quinn Duggan. Welcome, guys.
Everyone's I haven't seen the other head, so I don't know.
I haven't seen pictures of the other one, so hopefully we'll see some up. And then, as well as Raza, we then have
This dude.
Dalgamir?
Delgamir? Yeah,
Is
something
it?
like that.
Yeah,
Delgamar? I don't know.
one of the two. So he's the new Corsair hero.
Also known as Davos Seaworth, according to some people.
Yeah. What I think is quite funny about this guy is that when Jay was making his list for the GT, he'd got him painted up before he realised this guy wasn't out yet, so he wasn't allowed to use him at the GT. So then had to go and convert one up, which is quite funny.
I'm trying to remember what they were at the seminar and someone asked Jay, I think, whether he'd be using this model on day 2, and he was like, I don't know. And I'm pretty sure Rob was like, no. No, you're not allowed. But
Angry Santa, according to Quinn.
he has a head with a big handlebar moustache. Actually, no, I do think I know the head you're talking about.
Is it a pretty good one?
I remember the moustache. Very noticeable moustache.
Oh, that's
yeah,
good to hear about.
This guy's cool too. I mean, he'll pop up in pretty much every Corsair army you see.
Yeah. I think, Raza will turn up in some, Elfhelm will turn up in some. I think Dernhelm will turn up in most Rohan forces.
Yeah,
but this guy's going to be in pretty much every Corsair list just because of the lack of heroes they have.
Yeah, you're going to hit, what it's called, Dalamir and then this guy, because they're the only 2 named now. But yeah, he's really cool. I think that a lot of the new models have got really, really cool poses, which some of the older ones don't. Like, I mean, they are really old models, some of them, but
which is why it's really cool.
Yeah, it's getting new models with much cooler poses.
I'm pretty sure with this guy, can't you get, like, from a Reaver and a Spearman, you can get 6 rolls. Because it's 2 attacks on the Reaver, 1 for the Spear, you then get a Corsair reroll on one of the Reaver's attacks, and then this guy rerolls the other Reaver attack and the Spear attack. Because I believe it's just models within, rather than the combat. Oh yeah, Knight of Umpires in Corsairs. I always forget that.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why.
He sucks now, so no one's taking him. But,
yeah, it's not too great.
The reason you don't remember him being in Umbar is because he was in a Haradan Umbar list, and no one ever played Corsairs in the old rules, so it felt like he was just in Harad, effectively. Yeah, he is in Umbar. You might see him, I guess.
So in one combat you can have like 6 dice, which if you lose you're taking a strength 2 hit on each of the guys, but that's still quite a lot of dice to try and win fights.
My thinking is just do it on use him on the guy on the front and the banner on the dude at the back. Because if you lose the guy on the front, he's probably dead anyway because he's a Corsair. Yeah. So he's like defense 3 or 4. But yeah, he's pretty good.
3-4 with a shield, I think.
I don't think you'll see loads of Corsairs. I think you'll see a few more because Jay won the GT with them.
I'm expecting to see a couple at Stockport.
Yeah, I mean, there's like 120 players. There's going to be a couple of every army.
Wow, I don't
know. Except for Desolator of the North.
Yeah.
There won't be a couple of them.
Probably not. Okay, so now I'm going to need Chris in chat to help me out here because I can't remember. So we're going to talk about the Battle of Clyde Water now. So this was 80-point event up in Scotland, and I don't remember who came third.
Was it Ian that won?
Ian came first. Yeah. I can't remember between Chris or David who came third. Because Chris is here, he's obviously a better player, so I'm assuming he came second. but if you didn't come second, could you please correct me? Dave Reed. Hey, see? I told you. Dave
What
Reed
do
was
you
third.
Do you want to build up to the first place list, or do you want to start from it?
We'll build up, so we'll do Dave's list first.
Sure.
Let me just get the graphics sorted out for you guys so you can see it while we discuss it. And if you've got them all, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a Wood Elf list with Radagast and an Eagle, effectively.
There you go.
How many points is this again? 800?
So it was an 800-point tournament. I think there was about... I think Chris said there was around a dozen players, but there was actually a lot of scary lists. Like your fluff. Shut up, Chris.
There's going to be a lot of people faking fluff.
Yeah, because I think it was... although there weren't loads of players, a lot of the Scottish players were really good. So there was a lot of scary lists at the event, so...
The people that... I mean, the players are more spread out, and generally when players are more spread out, it's only the ones that are kind of big into it that stay with the game.
Yeah.
And the people that are big into it obviously tend to be pretty good.
Yeah, so this is David Reed's list. So he's got... I don't know which... I'll look at this one. So he's got Galadriel leading a Franco guard, 5 Wood Elves with bow and
Galadriel
spear.
Court guard. Galadriel can't lead the Fountain Court.
Wait, what did I say Franco?
The Fountain Court.
So, Galadriel Court. 5 Wood Elves with bow and spear, 8 with spear, 1 with a throwing dagger, 1 with a banner and a spear, and a sentinel. Haldir with the bow, leading 2 Galadriel Court guard. Oh, guard of Galadriel Court.
Galadriel Court guard.
4 Wood Elves with bow and spear, 6 with spear, and then Radagast on horse with Sebastian and a Great Eagle.
Yeah, it's reasonable. It's called the Radagast list with elves. I like scary because you just knock them down, you win fights. I know Dave Reed played like a very similar version of... I think he just played this list without the Eagle at the GT2. But I think it lost all its games, or only won 1.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it had tougher draws. I don't know who he played at this one, but he had tough draws. He drew me and he drew Dale. So it wasn't like the easiest players to play against, whereas when there's that many, you'd expect to get a couple easier matchups.
And what, that's Harad and Cand with Chariot?
Yeah, so he was saying that as long as you're fighting with it, it's fine. It's when people do the stuff where they can't fight... Whether you don't fight normally, so things like Candace Chariots running you over, or models sort of hurling through you, like the defense free really hurts. And that's the big weakness with this list, is it's all strength free, defense free. Really, except for like a couple models, which is kind of sketchy.
And then you've got the good old Great Eagle, which can fly in and just assassinate, and then you've got Galadriel Radagast.
You got double caster, you've got Nature's Wrath, you've got still a reasonable amount of might, it's 9 might. It's a little thin on the ground with 33, but generally people are running fewer models now in their armies. I thought it would go the other way. I thought with bigger warbands now, with the bigger heroes, you see bigger armies. But generally people are just sort of taking the bare minimum warriors and then padding with really strong heroes.
People are loving the heroes in this edition.
So yeah, 33 is not actually that low. And you have Blinding Light, so you're not too stressed. It's just that if it goes wrong, it can go very wrong with this list because it's all really squishy.
Yeah.
But still good list. Radagast is good. Radagast's really good.
Yeah, I like the single Wood Elf with the throwing dagger.
2 points left.
Bam! So you could have got a spear. He hasn't even got like a spear or bow or anything.
Nah, study man. Throwing dagger. Lets you do things that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do. Like, do you know when people get the thin line of models? Throwing dagger, that's how you get through in Recon. They try and set up a wall so you can't get off.
It's like using the camels. Charge through.
Blitzing through them.
Yeah.
Slightly less effective than camels. But...
Yeah, just slightly. And then, I was going to say similar, but only part of it's similar. So this is Chris Murphy's list. He came second. So once again, he's got Galadriel. He's got 1 warrior with the banner, 1 Galadriel warrior with the banner, 1 Galadriel knight with shield, 9 Wood Elves with spear, 4 Wood Elves with bow and spear. He's then got Radagast the Brown on foot, and then Durin with 14 half guard. So low models again, but 14 half guard and Durin on the front line.
Yeah, it's a similar thing. You're swapping out the extra elf warband and the eagle for the Durin warband.
Yeah,
Durin's probably a better leader because he's more likely to be wounded than a wizard, but he's less likely to be killed because he's like unkillable. And half guard and nails. Like if you lose a combat to a half guard, you're probably gonna die, especially when you're trapped because you're not prone. And then he's got an elf support, so you're probably gonna lose to him. So you just tend to die. Yeah, I was the same.
Was his leader.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay. It's interesting.
Did you know the scenarios going into it, or did you just not care about contest champions after Galadriel won twice in contest at the league finale? Wasn't it?
Yeah, something like
Crazy.
that.
Let's see.
Dewey said that he's building higher than average numbers in his lists because once the heroes are out of might, they can just like not roll a 6 and then lose and die.
Yeah,
like that's what I was doing initially too. But
that's why you've got Rohan with nice banner. Never run out of might.
Yeah, Rohan are only 5/5, so they're not quite as painful.
Yeah,
I was doing that initially too, where I thought you'd want to go higher numbers because then you can sort of tank a couple of turns of these monster heroes charging you, and then you just sort of wear them down. But they're just so hard to get. Some of them are like ridiculously good. I'm not sure which side I'm sort of coming down on, whether I think Horde's better or just playing into the hero games better.
Yeah, there's no contest apparently, so makes sense.
Okay.
The Glyde would be nice.
It's not too bad then.
I thought you were a nicer player than this.
You misunderstand Chris Murphy.
Yeah.
It's like that. There's a video on the GVHL of Dan Entwistle doing a player interview, and he hadn't included Alfred in his list, and Damien mentioned it, and he was like, "I'm not that guy." And Billy Fitzmaurice just commented, "I'm not that guy, the biggest lie ever told on the channel." Because he's definitely that guy.
Dirty cheese man, Mr. Dan.
But yeah, this list's good. I mean, Radagast again in 2 of the top 3. So my Slatline model's a little too strong.
Now, does that mean that you don't want to see another Radagast list?
Does he have Radagast in it? Oh, okay, he doesn't. I thought you were going to say Ian's got Radagast in his list too.
So, first thing I want to say about this list is Ian didn't tell me if the Moran Orcs had any equipment.
You assume they did.
So I assume that there are spears and shields in this army.
This is a mental list if they didn't have anything.
If they don't, that's pretty crazy. But yeah, so Witch King on Felbeast with the Crown, 3 Might, 15 Will, 2 Fate, which seems to be pretty standard. I think a lot of people are running that now on the Witch King.
Yeah, there's an argument for the horse instead of the Felbeast, because he's already got 3 attacks from the Crown. But the 3/15/2 is like roughly where people are putting him, because you get away with less will because you have the Crown.
He's then got Goroth, Gothmog seemingly on foot, a Shaman and Gorbag, single Warg Rider, 4 Orc Warriors with shields, 28 Morannons with some sort of equipment. There's pretty much split of shield and shield spears. Okay, yeah. So all had shields and then like half spears on Morannons, and then you had 1 banner in the list. So just I'm gonna stand here and punch you in the face kind of list.
Yeah, it's just a fighty list with good heroes.
4 strong combat heroes.
Yeah, you need the Shaman in there just in case you hit like an Army of the Dead with a Fury, but it's interesting that he's not taking Gurrits. Like, I think you'll see a lot of people taking Gurrits in lists like this. But he went for Gorbag instead, who's just good at fighting. 3 attacks at 5/5 when he fights more than 1 model is really hard to deal with.
It may have just been that he didn't have... Either he didn't have Gurrits, or I think they knew the scenarios beforehand. So they may have not been...
if there weren't that many Maelstrom.
He didn't have Gurrits. Or a Gothmog on Ward. Oh, he didn't actually have the model.
He just didn't own them.
That's fair.
You would put Gothmog on the Ward because he is a good brawler, if you could, but... I mean, even on foot, the army's got so much might. It's got, 3, 6, 9, 12... It's got 13 might, and then Master of Battle. So, I mean, even against those, like, Nature's Wrath lists, you can just heroic move on it every turn and hope to, like, get a dude into Radagast, and then just pin him, and then he can't Nature's Wrath. And when the Radagast lists can't Nature's Wrath, sometimes some of them just fall apart.
Yeah, and it makes it harder to position when you got a Felbeast, like, trying to pick you off.
Yeah. So. That's a good list. It's a good standard Mordor list. Mordor seems to be one of the fallback builds that Evil has. Just good heroes with good troops.
I played it and he won priority a lot.
Yeah.
That's the feels bad moment right there. So yeah, that was that's top 3 from...
Was this an 80 point event, or...?
Yeah, this was 80.
These are filth lists for 80 points.
Scotland, man.
They're tearing it up.
God, imagine what they bring to 100-point events.
Probably the same list because it can't get much better.
Same list, but with a hammer.
Yeah.
So that was the Battle of Clyde Water, so I said 80-point event.
We didn't go, so we can only talk about the lists. But
I spoke a bit to Chris, and he said it was a really good event. So hopefully because this is, I think there's like 5 Scotland events this year or something like that, which is pretty awesome.
That's pretty good.
It's helped a lot with the kind of splitting the GBHL at the moment into the different regions. Obviously
because there's northern, central.
Yeah,
so.
I think it's more affecting the TOs at this point. There hasn't been much for the players, but it's more just like the regional stuff. I think the plans to change a bit more. But yeah, then it's now the North regions, that's all of Scotland, and we're central.
Yeah,
so
I imagine it's not really
Preston
affecting
North, or maybe Yorkshire North.
I think Preston just cuts into the north, but I'm not sure. The reason that the regions aren't really affecting people this early is because there haven't been many tournaments in the GBHL. It's like some regions have only had one event. I mean, was the GT the first central event? I think.
Yes. Preston, Yorkshire North. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like it just doesn't matter. It's just not that telling yet.
Oh.
But when we get a bit further into the year, once like half of the regional events are down, people will start to care, I think.
And I think also at the moment it's more of a we've put this in, so that this is a thing. Next year there's actually going to be specific things. Like
I mean it's just getting started, isn't it?
Yeah, but you've got to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So next up we're going to talk about the GT.
This is the big one.
Did you want to discuss your list first? I don't actually have.
Yeah, I can talk. No, it's fine. I can talk about. So obviously it's the Warhammer World Grand Tournament. It's sort of like the big one. Like I think the only one that really compares to it is Ardacon in sort of scale. But there's Desolation of Stockport in number of players, and then but like as far as respect in the community, it's like Ardacon, ETC, and these are the 3 big ones I think, and then maybe Stockport because of how long it's been going. But because it's a GW event, and Freddo Schools obviously, because it's a GW event, there's a lot of different players there. But there's a lot of the regular guys, but there's also a lot of people that don't go to many events just coming along. And then there's also a lot of people really competing because there's a lot of prestige around winning a GW GT.
Mm-hmm.
The way that tournament points worked was interesting for the event because I think it was 6 for a win, 2 for a draw, 0 for a loss. But there were soft scores too. So at the end of the event, you got 2 votes for each of favourite army and favourite game. And each of those was worth a tournament point. So you were encouraged to sort of take friendlier lists and play friendlier games because you were sort of literally rewarded for it in terms of tournament points. Oh, that's my phone. So I brought Gondor with Gandalf the White, Denethor, Pippin, just themed Gondor list. For my good, and then just pure Candish for my evil with a couple of chariot heroes, just a horde of Candish models for my evil, because I thought both of those armies were cool. Effectively, kind of gambled on getting favourite army votes, which worked okay. I think I got 3 favourite army votes in the end. I won't go over all my games. I will talk because Dewey's in the chat. I will mention that one. Dewey and I played second game on the stream, which was really cool. It's really fun.
It's the first time you've been on the stream, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't go to Furnace Schools events normally. Like I haven't been to the past couple, so and they only really started streaming. Was it last year? Right, I think.
This is the first Grand Tournament they've done.
So they just did the when I was there.
Schools last. They did the Throne Schools last year, yeah, because Cam was on that with Design Hills.
Yeah, so. But we played a game. It was really, really close. It was a fun game too because it was Recon. And Recon's one of those scenarios that can be really one-sided.
Yeah.
But I think we had the exact same model count. We both had 39 models. And we had, I think I had 7 might and he had 6. So it was really evenly matched in that game. And it ended up coming down to, I think, Dewey had to make 4 courage tests on Courage 2. And he passed 2 of them, which was enough to win. Had he only passed 1, I think I would have won in the end because I killed his leader last turn.
Mm-hmm.
But it was an incredibly close game. Like, I was really lucky that his half trolls didn't do any damage. Gandalf was like a monster in that game. He was so... I think he killed like 7 camel riders or something. I think he dismounted both the heroes off the camels, killed 5 riders, and then killed all the heroes on foot. So he's just like tearing it up basically. But it was interesting to see the stream quality at Warhammer World is like really impressive. They have
it's definitely the best stream setup by far.
Yeah, they have someone who's managing the stream, like the technical side. They have someone who sits by the board with you and who sort of listens to the game going on and then types it to a couple of people who are commentating, so they can talk about your game without being next to the board, so they don't give away any information. So yeah, it was really impressive. There was a little bit lost in communication. I think also because they didn't necessarily have the most competitive players on. But I think they mentioned that Dewey should have put his banner in base contact to stop it from dying and not being passed on. But it was a Sorcerer's Blast that killed it, which pushed it out of base contact.
Yeah.
You know, like the occasional thing like that. And then the other thing that's kind of difficult to convey on a stream is like range on spells. So I know there's one point on the stream where they said I could have ran Gandalf to like blast a couple of Mahud, but he was actually out of 24-inch range. So it would have been 2 turns of movement, whereas they thought it looked like he was in. But it was still really impressive, and that was a really fun game. Incredibly close. It went to time. Like we finished, I think the game time finished with the turn time.
Yeah.
They overlapped. So it was really cool.
Because you didn't do an interview, did you? Because of the...
No, we were going to. They got pictures of the armies, but yeah, we just didn't have time. Because it was... If it was during lunch, we might have been able to get some time for it, but it was there's only half an hour between games. So. But yeah, my Cand won all 3 of their games, which they really shouldn't have.
Cand OP?
Yeah, and then the Gondor won 1.
8-1 this year in the GBHL Cand? Because then you win 5. You won 5 at Cardiff, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I must... Wait. I don't remember. How many did Dale win at Cardiff? 7?
6.
Did he win all...
Oh, was there 7 games?
There was 7 games, so I think Dale won all 7, and then I won 6 and lost 1. Yeah, so Canda what? 8-1.
Oh,
bad.
Yes.
They only played 3 games on...
9.
Oh no, 9-1.
9-1.
I can't... 6 plus 3 is 8,
Maths.
apparently. Whatever. They're doing well. They shouldn't be, but they're doing well. But yeah, we're going to come to it now because I'm guessing we're going to discuss the lists. There's one other thing, because there were so many players there, I think there were like 120 odd players. They sort of cramped the boards down to the 4x4 because that's all you play on. So there wasn't that extra bit of space. I was a little... It wasn't like a huge bother, but it was the fact that it was a 2-army event.
Yeah.
When you didn't have space to put your models, it's kind of a pain, especially when I've got like, 6 chariots on a tray under the table. I'm a bit like...
A bit iffy with it, yeah.
I can cope if it's casualties to the side of a board. That's fine, really. Not before they're on. But it was having a full army, either sitting on a stool or under the table. It was a little bit cramped for a 2-army event. I prefer having the space.
I'm pretty sure when I was watching the stream, Nick Baton was actually talking about one time when he went to an event. Then the Warhammer World, if you haven't been, there's the tables, and then there's stools for every table. However, he'd gone to a table, there wasn't a stool. So he went over to another table. I was like, do you mind if I take the stool that you're not using? They go for it. So he grabs the stool, picks it up, and there's like an army on this stool, and it just smashes. So he just picks it up, it just all falls on the ground. It's just like...
Yes. I left my army on a stool at one point, and the person on the table next to me just said to me, do you mind putting it on the floor? Because I'm really worried I'm going to knock that off. I was like, yeah, sure. But yeah, it was overall it was fine. I think they got like 40 more players in, so it's entirely reasonable. But I prefer it to be a 1-army event if they're going to do that. So I'm not like scared of having all my models damaged. If they do it again next year, I'd probably just take a couple old hero forces if I was to go.
Element Games does it quite well, because they've got shelves under the tables now.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if you've been.
Yeah.
So you can put your army onto there and stuff.
And I think there's normally quite a bit of space on the sides as well. Well, the tables are a bit bigger.
It's like, because Stockport's going to be packed.
They'll cram it all in.
Under space
is
really useful.
It's going to be really useful. And that's only a 1-army event too. So again, it's going to be... It'll be fine for stuff like that. But yeah, it was still a great event. Warhammer World events are great.
Do you want to chat about soft scores before we go?
Yeah. So the way that it worked out was that I think Yeah, because soft scores were such a big deal. 14 players, I think, ended the event 5 wins, 1 loss, which was all tied on tournament points. And normally that would mean victory points as the decider, but because it was soft scores, it was entirely down to soft scores. And because you could get 2 votes from each of your opponents, that's 12 tournament points, equal to 2 wins. So you had situations where players that had lost only 4 games placed higher than the players who'd won 5. So like Dewey's in the chat, and he won 4 of his 6 games and lost 2, but he placed 5th, which is like ahead of. So this is the thing. So Dale, me, and Dewey all won 4 games. Dewey placed 5th, I placed 22nd, and Dale placed 42nd, and we all had the same wins, which is like crazy spread. Yeah. It's an insane spread. You know?
I think
Dewey placed ahead of like 10 players that won 1 more game than him.
That's completely fine. Once again, this is completely our opinion, but I think that's completely fine for Throne of Skulls, where it is about the theme and stuff like that, and like having fun. But I think for a grand tournament, which I think a lot of people brought up, that shouldn't be the case. You shouldn't get tournament points for it. They should be tiebreakers, but you shouldn't get hard points.
A lot of people have been really upset by it.
But I believe they've taken that into account, and I'm pretty sure they're not going to do. I think it's because they've also had complaints from 40k and Age of Sigmar tournaments about the same thing. So I think they're taking that out of. Don't quote me on this because this is just from seeing comments and messages. But apparently they're taking that out of grand tournaments now, so they won't be worth tournament points. Which for a competitive event, I think it's good.
Generally better. I'm a bit like easier on it in that I don't mind it as much. I do think it's a little weird though that people who won more games can place lower than the people who won less. Like I'm fine with them being like as you said, a tiebreaker effectively, but it's just weird. Like I mean, it's hilarious that Dewey came 5th, but it is strange.
We're basically saying that we hate you, Dewey. You didn't
deserve it all. You didn't deserve the win against me either. That was terrible. You didn't deserve any of your wins. No, but like seriously, it is just. I don't mind it. They were just an enormous deal.
Yeah.
But for how like competitive the event is, I'll take it. You placed 5th. It's like insane. I can't believe you placed 5th with 4 wins. That's ahead of 10 players who won 5.
I mean that
crazy.
Although we're saying that we don't we're saying we don't like the soft scores. That shows how awesome Dewey is.
Yeah.
The fact that he managed to get that many tournament points.
He also won 4 games with like Mahud and Fiefdoms.
Fiefdoms are broken.
Fiefdoms are pretty good.
What?
Mahud.
Yeah, Mahud.
Pure Mahud with only 1 king.
Was that 3 wins or 2 wins? Or only 1 with Mahud? I'll be interested to know because I've started playing Mahud myself. I think
that was how the event worked out.
I think the damn, why have you changed your name to Woolly Job?
Whatever.
Okay then.
But yeah, that was one of the big things that defined the events. The top 3 lists. We've taken the top 3 and then a couple of other lists that went 5 wins, 1 loss.
Yeah, you got. Is it 2 that you're interested in?
Yeah, so I grabbed Kalman's because his is easy enough, and then I also grabbed Jacob's. Is it Jacob or Jacob? Jacob. Yeah. And Jacob would have come if soft scores were taken out of the equation. He actually placed highest. He had the highest victory points after the 5 wins.
Yeah, I think I had a quick glance, and without soft scores being taken into account, it was Jakob 1st, Callum Eden 2nd, and Matthew Light 3rd.
Okay. Well, they're players that we don't normally see at the top of events.
Well, Callum Eden's
we see them at the top events, but not like podiums.
Yeah,
typically.
Well, I think Matthew Light's pretty new, so it's impressive that he managed to do quite well. And with an impossible ally as well.
2 wins with both armies. So 2 wins with Mahud.
Mahud OP.
Yeah, apparently.
Actually,
anyone in particular that you want to start with?
I was going to say, do we want to do the top 3 first, or get the other 2 lists?
We can do the other 2 first, if you want.
So we'll start with the boring ones, with Kalman.
These aren't boring, man. Dude, if he rocked up to the table with me with these lists, I wouldn't say boring. I mean, they're definitely shorter.
Yeah. So going into this, Kalman didn't want to take a lot of models.
No.
Because he wanted. It was too. Go on. Sorry.
I was just going to say it was 700 points. And you had to bring a good and an evil.
Yeah. So Kalman didn't want to bring a lot of models because of the good and evil thing. So
he just converted up a couple of champions of Erebor on Goat as well.
Like 17 models in total, maybe less. So start off, this is Evil Force, which is a Dolgador army. So first off, he's made a big mistake, which about 2 weeks before the event, I told him about this mistake on the stream.
He forgot.
I told him about this mistake. These are all separate warbands, Josh. Maelstrom Battle comes along.
No, but I play in the table. I thought you were criticizing how I set up the table. I was like, I couldn't be bothered leaving lines between. Yeah, he put them all in separate.
Yeah.
He forgot that they'd FAQ'd it, so he thought it had to be all 9 and the Necromancer to deploy as one. But no, you can't deploy them all as a single warband. You can deploy any number. So he should have put them all as a warband. He didn't, but he still put up good results with this list. It's just your standard Necromancer 6 Wraith list.
Yeah, if you're gonna play Dog Order Wraiths, unless you have a really good reason not to want to do this, put them all in one warband, because it doesn't affect it massively affects Maelstrom, especially because the Necromancer has to be on the board to get the +1 to your resurrection, which is huge. You want obviously all of them once, but in missions like To the Death and Lords of Battle, it doesn't really matter them being one warband. So just do it. Just do it.
Just do it. But yeah, he won 2 of his 3 games. This was the list that he lost a game on.
Yeah.
But it is risky taking this list. Yeah, it was on stream. It was against Elves, which is what I was going to say. It's like risky taking this into a good v evil event because you're more likely to hit Elves and you're more likely to hit Banish.
Elves are horrible
which cause problems.
This. Especially Lothlorien.
He did win his first game against an Elf list though. It was like Elrond, Aragorn, Arwen, and then High Elves, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, he put up good results with it. It's all hero. It's the same as it used to be. Effectively, it can strike now. So
yeah, so they've all got a strike, and they can also make their resurrection. In case you haven't seen the FAQ, these are the best 6 wraiths.
Yeah, pretty much. Kamal has to go 2-handed.
Kamal's useless now, and then
the Abyssal Knights are like a cheese thing.
Yeah.
You just use them to cheese, like swap them positions when in heirlooms or something. No, bring one to the other in heirlooms across the board or something like that. But yeah, it's just an all hero list. You hope you don't play, the all hero, the problematic scenarios effectively, like domination. But
you hope for things like Lords of Battle it depends Lords of Battle where you're against.
Yeah, because they give up a wound each time they die. I think it lost hold ground, didn't it? This one.
Yes, which makes sense.
Makes sense.
But I played this with my Rohan in a practice game in Lords of Battle and just ran through it because strength 4. So 5 to wound, just knocking them all down and killing them. But yeah, it's a good list. Generally, want to keep your might for resurrections, but if the occasional heroic strike could be good, and protect your Necromancer. If you get onto a board and there's a really awkward piece of terrain, which is like a field or something like that, and you're against cavalry or a forest, just put them in there. And just...
this list's just about keeping the Necromancer alive. All he's going to do every turn is 1 and a 3/1 chill soul, try and strip a wound off a hero, and then besides that, he's just there to buff the wraiths.
Or just hit warriors as well.
Yeah, you can. It's not like if they're low model count, you can just hit into the warriors. Typically, he's going to throw it at your heroes, just in the hope that it pulls will and fate out of them as well. But yeah, it's good. It's reasonably good list. It's nothing crazy though. I think it's worse than it was in the old rules. But
I think it's worse because 1 magic's worse, and then 2 other heroes are better. So.
Yeah, other heroes got better. Chill Soul got worse. The Necromancer's like really overcosted now.
Yeah.
And elves are a much bigger thing than they used to be, and elves like cause problems for this list. And then I know someone else brought this list, and he played against God of the Fountain Court game 1 with Boromir, the banner, which is a terrible matchup for this list because they're all fight 5, defense 7.
Ewan against the Chester event.
Yeah, it was. He played against Dan and Whistle, I think it was, with his... Yeah, it was Dan and Whistle's Boromir Gone. And it was like the worst possible matchup for it. But yeah, no, it's a reasonably good list. His good was not as commonly seen as this one.
No, so if you know Kalman, he's obsessed with Iron Hills. He eats Iron Hills. He is an Iron Hill. He drinks Iron Hills. Yeah.
I'm surprised you went for he is an Iron Hill rather than he is a dwarf. I guess he's not short enough to be a dwarf.
Nah.
Not quite.
He's an honorary member of the Iron Hills.
Iron Hills is what he plays. It's what he's won tournaments on.
So
He recently converted up Keely and Feely on goats, and I believe that cost him about £100 because you've got to buy 2 sets of the Champions of Erebor, which is like 25, 30 quid each or something, and then a pack of goats, which is 45. It's like 100 quid to convert them up.
yeah.
So he wanted to play them basically.
I think he managed to sell off the spares.
Oh, did it?
Something.
That probably
I
helped.
remember. Yeah, so it's Thorin, Dwalin, Feely and Keely, all on Wargoat. Thorin's got Orcrist, Dane on Warpig, a single Goat Rider, and a Iron Hills Ballista.
This army's terrifying.
Yeah. It's got one of the best, well, 2 of the best combat heroes, and 3 of the best combat heroes in the game for good.
Yeah.
So I like how that just kept going up. I was like, oh, he's got Dane.
just
Oh,
go
wait, he's got
1,
Dwalin.
2, 3.
Oh, he's also got Thorin. And
I
then
mean, they're all insanely tanky.
yeah, Feeling Keely are not as powerful in combat, but they're still pretty good.
And they count
then
as
they got Ballista.
because they're Dubakar, they get the free roll to win when they're near foreign. You
3
don't need the
inches?
army bonus. I think it's 3 inches. It might be 6. But they get the reroll, and they don't need the army bonus to get it.
Yeah.
So they go up to virtually free attack heroes for most purposes, which is a really big deal.
And then you've got a Ballista to just shoot people from afar, stop you getting shot.
There's nothing worse than seeing like a lineup of dwarven heroes on goats and thinking that outshoots me. It's like, what the hell? And then if it hits, you can't shoot it back.
Yeah.
So you can't. They're not going to lose their mounts. Like Dane's insanely tough. Dane's insanely tough. Dwalin and Dane both hit really, really hard.
Yeah.
And Thorin's like a budget Aragorn because he's got virtually the same profile. No 6-inch banner and a less crazy sword because he has Orcrist. But he calls a free hero at combat every turn.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not like broken or anything, but
it's a terrifying list.
Heroes are really hard to stop in the new rules. Yeah. And you kind of just got to eat them one at a time, and you need to put a lot of resources into these heroes to kill them in a turn. I think the most of them are defense 8. They might all be defense 8.
They're all defense 8, yeah.
Keely and Feely defense 8 too.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, Goat Rider's defense 6.
Yeah, but he's just in there because he had 20 points left. Dismount him to pick up the prize and seize the prize.
Yeah, I was actually thinking just like, would I drop the Goat Rider? But that's actually an incredibly good point.
I forgot to add up the models. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh yeah.
Because 4 on the Ballista.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to work out if you killed all Ballista crew and the Goat Rider, it's 1 off breaking, which is slightly worrying.
It doesn't change your break number though, does it? It ups it by 1 with the extra model, which is like because it takes it to an even number.
So
which
it
is
still
fine.
killed Ballista and a hero, and then the Goat Rider as well. So actually, yeah, that makes no difference.
It's fine basically.
Yeah. But yeah,
yeah, we were both Dan and I were talking about how crazy Thorin's profile is because he is effectively just Aragorn for half the price.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's a little worse, so he's only got 1 fate.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the 6-inch banner, which is big. Orcrist instead of Andoril is quite a big downgrade. But he's a point higher defense because he's defense 8, and he has the free hero at combat every turn, which again is worse than the free might, but it's still like virtually the same thing.
Still really strong, especially when you're going to be combat.
It's half the cost. Yeah, he's half the cost effectively. It's like that profile's crazy. Dane's still tough
because he's into evil as well. There's not really a huge evil counter.
Yeah, I think that helps Feely and Keely too, because you'd be worried taking them into elves, because Fight 5 into Fight 5 with an Elven Blade isn't good. There's very few evil models that hit Fight 5. So,
no,
yeah.
so Orcrist.
Half Trolls being one of them, but then you just toss... Yeah, Orcrist's a lot better into evil. You just toss your Fight 6 heroes into things like Half Trolls. I'm just going to catch up with this. Dewey said he had a very hard run of opponents. So he played Tom Harrison, me, Jay Clare, Rob White, Dan Entwistle, and then Quinn. That is a tough run, to be fair. So maybe he did deserve his 5th place.
And then Chris's comment, so you lost to the good players and smashed the noobs.
Yeah, thanks. I was going to skip over that one. Got to bring it up. And Kalman is an upscaled dwarf, apparently. Yeah, pretty much. My favourite thing he used to do was... Do you remember when there was a scenario at Stockpot Doubles where you had two different armies,
Mm-hmm.
and you had to get like one of them had to be entirely killed or something. And he said, all right, the ginger ones and the ones with ginger beards and the one with brown beards are in this army. And I was like, this is insane. Trying to remember who's who. But no, he did well. He won all 3 games of this list. I know he won heirlooms by digging up the prize and then going and sitting on an Osgiliath Ruins balcony and like sitting in the corner with, I think it was Foreign, Dane, and like Keeley or someone.
Still say that's cheating.
Dude, I would call a TO over if someone tried to do that to me.
I hate. I think said this to you when we speak about it. I hate climbing for that exact reason.
Yeah, it's fine if there's stairs, but
yeah.
Nah, I'm not a fan. But yeah, he did well.
10th?
Reasonably good lists. Yeah, top 10. Top 10 with these lists, cool. He had a display board. The army looks cool. He got nominated for best army, but it's hard to win favorite game votes, I think, when your army literally never dies.
Yeah.
You don't. The Nazgul of Dol Guldur don't die, and the Iron Hills don't die and don't lose fights. So
I thought you were gonna go along the line of it's hard, like dissing his painting or something. It's like it's hard to win best army vote when you're like Carmen or something like that.
No, he's been nominated like 4 times.
He's been nominated, but Scott Whitefoot's in the battlefield, mate. Can't beat Scott. That army looks so cool.
Yeah, I mean, all of them did in there, to be fair. Andy Hamblin's was really cool too. I didn't see many
pictures. Did he have his Angmar army?
It wasn't the same one, so it was a different one, but it was still water effect bases, but it was mostly orcs.
That's cool.
Gullivar. And then I think he'd done really cool snow effects. Tomaso's armies look incredible. It's like really, really good at painting.
I think I've seen his Thranduil's elves or Thranduil's elves before. And then
I can't remember who else was there. I don't think I knew who they were. Oh yeah, Damien's because he had the display board.
Yeah. Because I saw some of the pictures as he was making those. They looked good. Yeah, the Cave Drake was awesome that Scott did. That was really cool.
Do you want to do Jakob's lists, or do you want to do the podium?
I was going to do Jakob's Evil first. So you messaged me earlier today, like, I want to have a look at Jakob's list. I was like, okay, see if you can get them. And then you put them in like our Google Drive, and I looked at them. And
I sent you a message saying you think they're normal lists, and then they're not.
They're pretty cool.
They are cool
because they're just different.
Yeah, they're not standard.
No, so
I mean, part of them is. So yeah, his evil's the Shadow Lord on a Fell Beast with 6 Black Numenorians, 6 Spear, Shield, Bran, and Orcs, 2 Morgul Knights, and a Black Numenorian with a banner. Gurits with a similarly half Black Numenorians, half Spear Morannons. And which is like normal, right? That all makes sense. The Black Numenorian front line, Morannons, back lines.
Morgul Knights is a bit crazy. Usually you see Warg Riders, but
maybe he wants more reliable cavalry that cause terror. Yeah, you can understand that. Shadow Lord on a Fell Beast, again, reasonably standard. Gurits, reasonably standard evil hero. And then he has the Spider Queen leading 2 Bat Swarms. I
don't think I've seen the Spider Queen since 2012 when Spider Queen wasn't a named hero.
I don't think you would have seen the Spider Queen in this army if you didn't have to take it to bring the Bat Swarms. I think this warband exists to bring 2
Why wouldn't you take Moria? Dr. Dennison's and Moria are both allies convenience with Mordor.
Because the Moria heroes also suck. Unless you're going pure Moria, right?
Yeah, but then you get more stuff, right?
Yeah, but not much. You get like an extra... I guess you get an extra warband, but...
Unless you...
The Moria warband's not doing much for you.
Unless you really just want the Spider Queen for the hitting power.
I guess you could take the Spider Queen. I really want...
How many points is Debert's? No,
Debert's 70.
Druzag.
Druzag's like 90.
Okay, fair enough. I was going to say maybe take Druzag with some more guys, but...
You'd only get like another 2 spiders. I don't think you can... Oh no, you can take spiders in Druzag's warband. But yeah, it's like... It's because there aren't really many answers to good heroes, and I think he's just trying stuff out to like see what can beat them. I mean, Bat Swarms has been one of the things.
Bat Swarms with Black Numenorians.
Barney's seen a lot of success with Bat Swarms.
Yeah.
Because he pairs them with Druzag. Ed took Bat Swarms with his Fell Beast list, didn't he, to Sterling?
That didn't do too well, though.
No, but I think that's something that a lot of people have been looking at and going, well, they have the old Immobilized, they have Channel Immobilized as basic ability.
I guess the biggest weakness of the Spider Queen is shooting, and he's got the Shadow Lord.
Yeah.
And also move 10 without without being slowed by terrain. So
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, it can still lose a fight and just die.
yeah.
It's like defense 4 with 3 wounds and no fate, right? It's just the wrong book. But it's really squishy.
Like
It's like kind of useful. I don't rate it particularly. Like I'm the same as Dan, where I want to like it in the same way that I want to like Shelob, because it's really cool and the way it plays is different. But I'm not convinced. It's like 175.
Yeah, I thought cave drakes were really expensive, aren't they, Chris? 150.
You could do a cave drake to lead bat swarms, but you'd lose a bat swarm.
Yeah. You'd lose a bat swarm or some guys. I don't think it's worth the model drop.
The other thing with cave drakes is their bases are really awkward to move around because they're so big. Whereas the spider queen's only on a 60 mil base, and the cave drake doesn't have strike, which is a real pain for it.
It's a spider queen.
The spider queen does have, yeah, it's got strike and 3 might. It used to only have 2. That's got 3.
Fair enough. 5 value 6 base.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I like the idea of putting bat swarms in. This is another one of those lists where we've seen people going bare bones minimum models, which is around 30, and then just padding out their anti-hero.
Yeah.
Inside the Shadow Lord on Fell Beast, and then the Spider Queen. Like, you're dropping 200 points. You're dropping, what, like a quarter of your army on trying to build stuff in that can beat heroes.
More than that, right? Because it's 185 for the Spiders, 170 for the Shadow Lord. That's like...
Oh, yeah, but I'm not like,
points?
I'm not counting the Shadow Lord in that, because the Shadow Lord's like good anyway.
Oh, okay.
Whereas I feel like the Spider Queen 2 Bat Swarms exists only to hunt heroes.
Yeah, that's fair.
The other thing with Bat Swarms that makes them quite good is that because they fly 12, they can threaten like the Nature's Wrath heroes that hide in the back. So you can just pin them with Bat Swarms every turn.
Yeah.
Again, that's useful.
They're also very useful for Seize the Prize and Heirlooms. Just so fast, and the infantry. Like
I
Eagles.
will say that... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, like Eagles, they can just fly and grab the prizes and...
Yeah. No, they're a pain in those scenarios.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to... They don't dismount or anything, so they keep moving the full 12. I will say that Jakob said this list did work. I think this list was the one that lost one game. Whereas his... And I don't think it had as convincing victories. Whereas his good list apparently won all 3 games and had like a positive, like an insane positive VP rate. Okay. I think his good list only conceded 2 VPs and had like a big win, a couple of big wins. Yeah.
So just throw up the good list. Do you have anything else you want to say about the evil?
No, it's just weird. I rate the Black Numenorian front line rather than the back line though. I think it's a really good build.
Yeah, I think. Dewey, didn't you take that to similar to ETC last year? You did alright with that. I think you did alright at Oddcon as well.
I think Dave Clubley had the Cardiff too.
Yeah.
I think, I'm not certain.
But yeah, so Jakob's good list is, if you thought his evil list was weird.
Yeah, this is...
Welcome to good.
He's got his leaders, Galadriel, Lady of Light. He's got Boromir of Gondor, so the Fellowship Boromir with a horse and a shield. Then he's got Arwen, so that's like kind of strange to begin with. Then he's got Arwen, Asphaleth leading 12 High Elves with Spear and Shield. Reasonable warband, yeah, pretty standard for the new edition. And then he's got Phaedrid, Heir of Rohan with a horse, yeah, good profile. 2 Royal Guard with horses, 4 Royal Guard on foot with throwing spears, a Royal Guard with just nothing, a warrior with a banner, and then 7 warriors with shield. It's the weirdest Rohan warband I've ever seen. And that's the entire army. So it has, as far as I can tell, no bows. It's got throwing spears for shooting, but it's not all cav. It's got quite a lot of cav. It's got what?
Does it?
It's got 2 heroes on horse and 3 heroes on horse and 2 mounted Royal Guard. Yeah, but that's more than like most infantry armies will run. I think. But it's like, again, it's weird. Like I get how it works in that you've got a Nature's Wrath hero, you've got Lady of Light, which gives it blinding light, and then it helps you break. Yes, yeah, so this is the big way that it works. That you fortify Boromir and Phaedrid.
I love Quinn's comment. I'm so confused by this.
I know, it's so weird. Like, but it's essentially you just Lady of Light fortifies Boromir and Phaedrid, and they just go around beating like your opponent into submission. Because to be fair to those 2 profiles, they aren't like particularly tanky, but they do just kill anything they run into.
Yeah.
Like Boromir has 6 might. He can just throw. He's got the horn, which is better against evil. He's got the 6 might.
6 might horn. Phaedra rerolls auto wound.
Yeah, so Phaedra is going to fight 5, strength 5, 4 attacks on the charge that knock down, right? Which is like crazy killing potential. So these guys just blow through models, and like the only thing they're really afraid of is magic. You just fortify them.
The Rohan warriors are just weird.
You don't like them because, dude, this is like your warband, but they're not helming it.
Exactly.
It's like the reason you don't like them.
But
I honestly, the thing is, most evil armies aren't going to go to defense 7, right? So you don't need the strength. Like I'm assuming the warriors of Rohan have axes, so you don't need the Grimbold upgrade. Like the piercing strike's going to be enough.
I guess, but then you got piercing strike, so you lose the defense, which is one of the things.
Yeah, but you've got Nature's Wrath with Arwen, so you're knocking them down, and then you piercing strike with the spear spot. Like it's like a pseudo Radagast build, but it plays more aggressively into the heroes.
I just don't see what the. It seems like he's just taken Phaedra and then decided to fill out the warband. I guess maybe it's a bit too expensive to throw in another hero with guys.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be able to. I mean, that Rohan warband's what, like 80, 90? It's like 170 points for 15 guys. Like, you're probably not going to find a better warband and warband leader for cheaper than that. I don't know. It is a bit strange. I think it like makes sense.
Would Madril with warriors not be better? Obviously, not getting 15, but
you're only getting 12 warriors.
Getting better warriors.
Are you? Warriors of Minas Tirith better than Royal Guard and Warriors of Rohan?
Better than the warriors, definitely.
Well, like they can't go to strength 4, and you want the strength 4 when you've got Nature's Wrath and a spear support. You're getting fewer warriors. They're not getting the bodyguard rule, which is relevant because it's only a yellow alliance. So you're not getting your +1 courage. You're not getting any mounted models in that warband. I don't know. I just think that
it obviously works.
I think as soon as you're taking Phaedra in that list, you fill out the warband rather than do it.
Yeah, I guess because you've already got Galadriel and Boromir without warbands.
Yeah, you can't afford it. But it does seem like a strange version of the Nature's Wrath builds. Like I see what it's going for, but it is weird.
What I'm very interested to see is what Polish bring to ETC, because I know Jakub went back to Poland at one point, so I'm wondering if this is like the kind of list they are running in the Polish league, because this could be like a relatively normal list for them.
I've been told that Poland and Germany are both struggling a lot to beat the Nature's Wrath meta. Like everyone's playing Nature's Wrath. Apparently they're playing Elrond Lindir more, because we haven't really seen that combo here. And Arwen's a problem and Radagast is a problem.
Yeah.
Like that no one can deal with. So it doesn't shock me that it's a Nature's Wrath build. It's like the way that he's built around it that's weird. Yeah, Boromir of Gondor and Phaedra are weird heroes to see. Galadriel, not so much.
I think that Boromir of Gondor I can get behind. It's just, I know the 4th warband, I'm just trying to think in my head if there's better alternatives to that warband.
You think the Boromir of Gondor mounted makes more sense than the Phaedra?
Yeah.
Because I would say Phaedra is more logical than Boromir.
I know, because it's just like a giant glass cannon, right?
Yeah, but every Nature's Wrath list is a giant glass cannon.
No, as in like just Boromir.
Yeah, but so is Phaedra. Phaedra's the same thing, right? Like, sure, he's only fight 5, but you only need him to be in good for evil. Yeah. He's cheaper. And
I guess if you just throw him into the troops just to tear things up.
And if he goes into heroes, you're just going to be striking anyway. Because they're going to strike against you, so it's just going to be strike off. I don't know. I think Lady of Light makes sense because Fortify's going to be a really big deal this edition. Like just being able to pad your heroes with Fortify is really frustrating. Fortunately, it's gated normally on really annoying heroes to include in your army, like Lady of Light and Gandalf the White.
Yeah.
But I think yeah, it's weird. Again, 30-ish models at 700 is kind of low.
I think if there's one thing we can say, Jakub's lists have definitely been the most confusing lists that we've looked at for us
today, yeah.
on the stream. Like,
I'm trying to remember what else we saw. The Lake Elves were pretty interesting the first time we saw them.
When we first saw, yeah, but I guess Yeah.
These are weird lists. These are strange lists.
But hats off to you, Jakub. You managed to do really well with them. So they're obviously really good. Or you're a really good player. I guess you are a good player. But
It can be both.
it could be both. So I'm
I
interested
think that.
to see. I don't know.
Yeah.
700 points, was it?
Yeah, it was 700. I mean, they're hard tiers to deal with.
Be cool to see if he goes to any more 700 point events with these lists.
Yeah, I mean, this list wouldn't work without Lady of Light.
Yeah.
Like, at all. It needs it. It's interesting that he hasn't included any bows. Especially when you're running elves, you kind of assume that he's going to run bows.
I guess it'd just be the point you drop.
I'll just double check that I haven't misread.
A Royal Guard to get the 4 bows, right?
You wouldn't be able to take the shields, so you drop 4 shields, then you'd have to find 4 points. And you could drop like a couple throwing spears on Royal Guard or something.
Maybe just...
Let me just double check he hasn't bows in. He sent me his lists. Yeah, no bows.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, his evil list was entitled "Not at All Competitive Evil List," Yellow Alliance, and his good list was Extremely Thematic Good List. These my favorite moment in the films was when these guys all teamed up to fight the ring wraiths.
Oh, get ready.
It's when Sauron says to Lady of Light as she's holding. It's when Galadriel says, "I'm not alone," and it turns and it's not like Saruman and Elrond. It's Boromir of Gondor, Theodrad, Arwen, and a bunch of Rohan and High Elves.
I'd like to see that. That'd be a cool scene. Well, look forward to seeing Barney's list because that's got some funny things in there. But yeah, so that was Jakub's Kames 8th?
8th, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
He didn't come top 5, but he did have the best. If you exclude soft scores, he had the highest score. Highest score.
Yeah, so well done to Jakub. So now on to the top 3 positions.
Yeah, so these are largely be reasonably good lists that are really themed and cool, played by very nice players.
Honestly, JHR's good list. We'll get onto it.
I thought you were going to say, honestly, Jay Acharya is not a nice person.
Oh no, Jay Acharya is a lovely person.
I was like...
I'm so sorry, Jay. He's going to... literally talked to him earlier. He's like, oh, I'm looking forward to watching the VOD. You're a great person. I love you, Jay.
That's what it genuinely sounds like. I'm not convinced that these people are very nice. That's what I thought you were lying to say.
Obviously, Barney's an ass. No one likes Barney.
No one likes Barney. That's why he placed second on soft scores.
Yeah, that's why we keep inviting him back to the show. Please come back, Barney. We love you. So we've got Jay Charier's... Actually, as I've mentioned it, we'll do Jay's good list first.
He's also a dirty cheat according to that good list.
What good list?
Jay Charrier is good.
Why?
Because Glorfindel can only lead 15 elves. He's got 16 in his...
Oh, I've probably copied it wrong.
Yeah, I imagine someone would have spotted that. But...
Yeah, so Glorfindel's got his warband. So Glorfindel on foot with the arm of Gondolin. He's got 8 naked high elves, 8 high elves with shield and spear, elven twins with horse heavy armor bows, and 8 Rivendell knights with shield. So I messaged him to double check that Glorfindel was indeed on foot, which I think he ran to the league finale, so I wasn't too surprised.
It's just a bigger version of his league finale list.
And then the 8 high elves on foot with no gear, which I was like, surely that's going to be a mistype. It's like, I don't have the models, and I didn't want to ruin them. So like, okay, fair enough.
It was the same thing when I wrote my Rivendell list. I had the same basic setup.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I don't want to glue shields onto their backs because I don't think it looks very good.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say this is a particularly crazy strong list.
Dude, this list is terrible. I have no clue how he came third with this.
Came third with this?
Yeah,
Let me just check. Did he say which?
Did
he say
this has
got
to be the one that lost the game. This kind of it's 3 good heroes again. That people are struggling to hit into them. It's 8 Rivendell Knights, which is a lot of Rivendell Knights.
Elven Twins OP.
The Elven Twins, they aren't though, because they got knocked up by 20 points. like it's crazy that he can afford to think he has the points to mount them too, when they lose an attack for being mounted. And you're paying 20 points for effectively the same attacks, foot and horses. Like I figured that if you run the Elven Twins, you probably want them on foot now to save points, but they're just it's like insane that this won so many games.
Yeah, he didn't say which of his lists won all three.
He has got the 1/3 bows in the list because
the knights, yeah. I know.
And he has bows. He has bows. Yeah, he has bows in the Elven Twins too. So he's probably out shooting a lot of things, but he won't be out shooting like the evil armies that are dedicated to it. But there weren't very many of them. I'm surprised this won games.
Yeah.
I think it probably won games because everyone's armies are small. Like normally, I'd say 27 models is really low for 700, especially when you're not doing anything too crazy. But it's only like 4 or 5 models lower than most other people's armies apparently. So.
That's cool. Yeah, because before hitting lines, you've had 10 bow shots. Because just on the graphics, I only put the warrior bows. I don't include any hero bows. That's why it says 8, not 10. Yeah, so they got 10 bow shots to thin the lines, and then they got the twins and the knights just charging in to combats to deal damage. So when you get the foot troops into combat, I guess it doesn't really matter that you don't have shields on the front guys, because you got 2 attacks at fight 5, and you got Glorfindale, and yeah, you could be winning fights and stuff.
Was there a banner in the list?
No.
Really?
No,
you'd assume there'd be a banner.
In
the elf list.
I'll double check again the message he sent me, but it didn't look...
If there's not a banner, I have no clue how this one games.
No?
Well done.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
Well done, I guess. I'm really surprised this one games.
Yeah?
I don't think it's a good list. I think it's a cool list. It's like a really themey elf list, but if I drew this list at like a competitive tournament, I'd probably think it was reasonably okay.
Yeah, he
wouldn't be that scared of it.
He himself said that he didn't expect to do that well with these lists. Like his good and his evil, he didn't expect to do that well.
His evil's okay, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's not great.
But,
Speaking of his evil being okay.
Kapow. Once again, so we'll go through the list. But yeah, so he's got Betrayer on horse, 6 Harad warriors with bow, 4 watchers with bow, 5 watchers with twin blades, Golden King, 7 Brackengard, 7 Harad warriors with spear, 1 watcher with blades, a Hasherin, 5 of Brackengard, 5 Harad warriors, and 5 Harad warriors with spear, and 2 watchers of Karna with blades. So he's actually 20 points under because he didn't have models, and also he would have put the Betrayer on a Fell Beast, but he also didn't have the model once again.
Oh, I didn't know that. There's a lot of models in this list.
The watchers with the bows.
I had 32 models. Oh, sorry, 42 models in my Candish list, and everyone thought that was like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think generally the model count's a lot lower this edition.
45 models.
That really helped it, yeah. Watchers with bows is kind of a waste of the fact that they can have 2 attacks.
Just quickly, for his good list, he didn't have a banner because he didn't want to convert one and didn't want to ruin a model again.
Okay, fair enough. So no banner.
Yeah, but yeah, I think the Watcher's Corner with bows slightly pointless. But apart from that, it's probably better than his good list.
I think it's better than his good list.
If it was on the table against me, it's I don't know. Just seeing this list on its own, it's not crazy powerful, but at the same time, it's relatively scary.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, Brackens are still really good. They're like the big thing that Harad brings. Dan's pointed out that it needs Sully. Like anytime you're playing Harad and not bringing Suladan, I think you're either being really friendly or missing a beat because he's a disgustingly overpowered profile.
Yeah. Once again, probably didn't have the model, I assume.
Yeah, I assume. The Hasherin isn't that good. I think he's okay. Yeah. Especially into elves because he's only fight 5, I think. And like when you're taking a dedicated combat hero that's probably going to fight elves at some point, and he's only fight 5, it's like, and the Golden King's more points and worse, I think. He doesn't have strike as well, so I'm again surprised. This time he's got what, like 5, mate? I think the Betrayer has 2, the Golden King has 2, and the Hasherin has 1. The Hasherin has 1.
Golden King's got 1.
I'm pretty sure the Golden King's 262. I think he's got 2 might, 6 will, 2
I could be very
fits.
wrong about that, yeah. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, he's 262.
Yeah, 5 might.
The Hashran's got 1, and only the Hashran's the only one that can strike. Yeah, again, surprised it did as well as it did.
I just want to say, imagine Jay Achaya with like, competitive lists.
Yeah.
Damn.
To be fair, part of the reason though, because he only won the same games as 14 players. Part of the reason that he's podiumed is because he's won those lists.
Yeah.
Won those with these really cool female armies, and he's a really nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's still impressive to win 5 games with lists this bad.
Wow.
They're not like terrible. They're not like unplayable or anything, but they're genuinely. They're not like. You could have made these lists better while still being Femi, but he
they're
just
not
doesn't
the
have
normal lists.
They're not even like.
If Jay won 5, he lost to Jay Claire a whole ground.
Okay.
Do you know which list he lost with?
It'll be. Jay played this. He will have lost with this Harat one, right?
Don't hold back, Josh. Say what you really feel. How do you really feel, Josh?
But it's like you could have just put a banner in the elf list, and it would have still been just as Femi, really. But he didn't have the model, so he just didn't bother. So it's genuinely really impressive that he's won games with these lists.
Yeah, he plays Harad against Jay. Okay, so we lost 1 with. He won 3 with the elves.
That's crazy. What? Is that just a symptom of how terrible evil is? They can't even fight that elf list.
Do you know what it is?
What is it?
So Jay no longer lives down south. He's at university in Liverpool, which is right next to Chester. And he's been to two Chester events. So obviously, just Team Diva.
He was at half of one of those Chester.
The Team Diva buff.
The Team Diva buff.
Team Diva buff. We got Cameron, we got Dale, we got Jay. We got you. Yeah.
I wasn't including us two in that discussion. By adding me onto the end, it was like a conscious decision to just barely reject me.
I mean,
one day,
Josh, chat. Yeah. It's not just me, Chris Murphy as well.
Everyone's blaming me. I know why I do this show. I've put more effort into this show than I have of any previous show because I actually
got 2 lists.
I typed up 2 lists, which is more than I've ever done for this show.
Oh yeah, I'm not good. I admit that. I'm just the person that brings them together.
Yeah, it is the exception that proves the rule.
I'm the captain, and to be the captain, you got to make sacrifices, Chris. It's like first year of Ardacon, I took a hit for the team. I went 2-4 so that my team could do well. Dale went undefeated. Josh did pretty well.
Not only did he go 2-4, he kept a real strong, staunch face on. Mm-hmm. He definitely didn't get upset and stormed off to his room.
Came back second year.
Good team leaders should.
Came back second year. Was like, right, this is my year. Boom, best Fallen Realms player in the world. Period.
You're the Goblin Scribe of Team Diva, apparently.
I am indeed the Goblin Scribe.
Who's the Goblin King then, and who's Grinner? Gethin is the
I like that one. That one's better.
I think that's giving him too much credit.
This is like you sacrificing your country to play for a different. Alright, so do it.
But he betrayed us then.
Yeah, surely I betrayed them because I accepted the prize as Team Wales.
Didn't go. Despite being on Team Wales with ETC, he joined Team Diva for Ardacon. And then when he went up to accept his Ardacon prize for Team Diva, he went up in a Wales shirt. So he just ended up disappointing everyone.
I mean, no one was aware of the Diva shirt day 2, and like 5 minutes before, wow, thanks to Quinn. 5 minutes before we went up, I realised I'd probably won a prize, so it was too late to change. But yeah.
For the people who are watching on YouTube that can't see what's going on, effectively, me and Gethin are just being flamed by the people in the Twitch chat, just being bullied by them.
Mainly Chris Murphy.
Yeah, mainly Chris Murphy, actually. He's on a rampage. Alright, let's move on with the list. Let's get this over with. Sick of being bullied.
Back onto the topic.
Barney came second, right?
Yeah. At least we can't go as off topic as the plans here.
Yeah. I mean, we're almost there.
We're almost there. So do Barney's good list first. Disappointing everyone needs to be on his show for this shit. No Oddcon this year. Sorry, Dewey.
No, you should just have like that as your name. Whenever you sign up for events, that's just your first and last name.
Oh, disappointing everyone. Back onto the topic, we have Barney's good list. I believe this is a normal Rohan list.
It is.
He's got an outrider, so it has to be. I am nice, Dan thought so. Alright, so we've got Theoden with a full PE kit. We've got Aemir with a full PE kit. Merry on Pony and Shield. Gambling with Banner and Horse. 10 Royal Guard and Horse. 9 Riders of Rohan. A Royal Guard and Horse with Banner. And an Outrider on Horse. So, initial thing is he's got 2 banners. I'm not sure if that's so that he can keep one back for protecting while throwing Gambling in.
I also imagine
it's just to cover the lines.
Gambling's also more of a might caddy than a captain. So you want to position Gambling to give your heroes might, whereas the other banner can just be a banner.
Yeah, that's fair.
I assume he'd drop it if the points went down. But I guess once you get sort of around 20, 25 models in Rohan, you don't need any more. You just kind of buff your army up.
I remember talking to him at Sterling, and he was saying, because he had slightly low models, and he was like, once you've got a 2 warbands of warriors, you just take heroes. Like, that's all you really need with the Rohan. I presume he's gone pure Rohan and not Legion.
Legendary
just
Legion.
To put Marion.
Yeah, I chatted to him about this after the event. If he had the Dernhelm model, he would have played the Legion. But he doesn't. The model wasn't out, and he couldn't be bothered converting one up. Because the Dernhelm profile is just better, right? But yeah, so he didn't have Dernhelm, so there's no point. He'd rather have Merry than the Legion bonus, because Merry is just a might caddy.
Oh no, you lose the Outrider.
You lose the Outrider and Merry and become Dernhelm.
And a few models, but yeah.
But yeah, Merry as a might caddy is disgusting. Because he's only got 1 might, and all he does every turn is call a heroic move with it. So.
What else has he got? Strike, I assume.
Probably, but he's never going to use it.
I'm just thinking if he's got March, that'd be OP.
Dude, there's no way he has March. Gambling has March, so you've got it in the list.
But I'm thinking if you have a 1-3 might.
Just standard Rohan competitive build. There's a lot of Rohan in there.
Books. Where is Rohan?
There he is. He's only got Heroic Strike.
Just Strike, okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so you're just moving every turn.
Pretty much just calling it.
I need to independent heroes to join Gambling's Warband. As Chris said in chat. Makes sense.
But just standard Rohan build that you kind of expect to see.
Yeah.
There's nothing too crazy about this. The second banner's kind of weird. But yeah, besides that.
I just like the full PE kit.
Yeah, I just say full kit a lot of the time too, but I didn't go for the PA.
Alright, and then we've got a list which we're probably, I'm pretty bored of just reviewing this list, so Barney.
It's a cool Mario list though. It's like a properly themed Mario
Also, it takes up 2 pictures, so I've not got to do the ball ache of displaying 2 pictures on our screen.
It wouldn't take up 2 pictures if you didn't put spaces between all the warbands.
Yeah, it would.
No, because you get 1, 2, 3, 4 extra lines, which is enough for the 5th warband. And then you just leave off the total points and models.
Move around the entire page here.
It's. I'll just start reading it. Yeah. It's Durbers, 2 Prowlers, a Bat Swarm, 3 Goblins with Shield, 4 Goblins with Shield and Spear, and a Drum. Just got the Drum in at 700. Druzag, 2 Prowlers, 2 Wargs. Try to get it all on. Giant Spider, Bat Swarm, 2 Mario Goblins with Shield, 2 Mario Goblins with Shield and Spear. Roblog, 3 Prowlers, 4 Goblins with Shield, 4 Goblins with Shield and Spear. A Gundabad Shaman and a Black Shield. Sorry, a Gundabad Shaman and a Mario Shaman leading 11 Goblins. I got bored of saying Goblins stuff. But if you remove the spaces, you wouldn't have disappointed everyone. We'd moved away from this.
We're moving on with the stream. Now, isn't it, Chris?
Disappointed everyone. We're moving on with the stream.
It's like last year's Sterling all over again, isn't it, Chris? Disappointed everyone there, didn't I?
Was that the one
That's the one I didn't turn up to.
Yeah, he disappointed me.
Because I disappointed you, disappointed Ross, who I was maybe playing, disappointed David Reed because I was lending him half his army.
But
Yeah,
it's a standard. It's like the Barney's standard Mario build, where you just get a mix of everything in. It gets a lot of models in, despite having a lot of the good stuff. Bat Swarms with Druzag are really good at killing heroes. He said the Wargs were rubbish, and he's probably going to drop them out because they're not very helpful.
I think he said a similar thing at the league finale. He wasn't too sure on the Wargs, but the Spiders and the Bat Swarms are really good.
Yeah. He says the drum was really. He played the drum for the first time. It was really strong. He thought it was. He said it felt like cheating.
Yeah.
Which is surprising. He's also mentioned that he hasn't tried it out yet, but potentially at 800 points he'd run the Cave Troll.
Given our just spoilers here, these could be secrets that Barney's bringing out to the ETC and just leaking them everywhere.
I didn't say anything about ETC. I'm not even sure he's convinced by the Cave Troll because he hasn't played it. But he said it's just an idea.
Yeah, that could be quite cool.
But
it's 700, isn't it? Oh, God.
Yeah, it's only 700. It's 49 models. You still get all of the good stuff for heroes. He was on the stream in Game 1, so if you subscribe to that channel, you can go and watch that again. But effectively, it literally just plays by swinging the Bat Swarms along with a bunch of other guys in on the heroes to try and snipe them and maybe pull out might. And then later game, you've got a bunch of very cheap free might heroes, a couple of them, that can combat and strike and just swing dudes along. But yeah, it's just a standard force. It's got pretty rubbish troops, and then but a lot of them, and then good stuff.
Yeah, it's different to the list where big heroes as well, because of the whole point is Gundabad Shaman puts down their heroes, and then Durzerk just makes these weak creatures just gods.
Yeah, to be fair, the Black Shield Shaman's not so much for wrecking heroes. It's his Tremor's really good now because it goes from the model you target D6 inches rather than from his base. Yeah, it used to be from his base 2d6, but now it's. Callum Farber told me that, but he didn't resolve the Tremor. I was like, thank God, because it would have gone through my entire line. But that's really strong. That's insanely good. And because Shatter breaks a piece of war gear in the missions that involve a banner, you can just break the banner. For 2 VPs, and you can't pass it on because you're breaking the banner, you're not killing the dude.
And then obviously you don't have a banner yourself, so.
So yeah, I think he's more in for Tremor and shattering banners. He can.
That's fair enough.
Shatter heroes, but without the Wraith to hold the will initially, it's more risky. But yeah, still just good. We've talked about it before. It's a good list. It's one of my favorite lists because it's just so flexible. And it's not like a boring list in that it's not an all hero that just does one thing. It's not a horde that just does one thing. It's straight middle of the road, good at everything, good at almost everything. Cool, fun to play, and the army looks really good.
It's also
I really like this list.
It's also just really different to everything else.
Yeah.
You don't really see any other. It's just what Moria does that you could do at last edition, but a lot better this edition.
Yeah, stuff. With Moria, a lot of people run out the Balrog and stuff, and some people run out. I know Callum runs out Watcher, maybe a Dragon, but I've always thought this Moria build was for me the coolest one.
Yeah,
we just run all of the slightly smaller cool stuff like the drum, and then Bat Swarms. So yeah, it's cool list.
I definitely agree with that. So Barney was second. We looked at his round. So Barney came second with those two lists, and with the exact same tournament points, victory points, and VP difference. First place was Jay, who got 2 more leader kills than Barney. I told Barney all that was in it.
We were chatting to him after the last game, Dale and I mentioned to him, I think leader kills are the first tiebreaker, and he said something like, "Well, I'm completely screwed because I've killed 0 leaders."
It's the fact that it came down to that. It's it wasn't actually soft scores in the end. It was the leaders.
And first and second is great. Yeah, first and second being almost completely tied is super cool.
Yeah.
But to go to that old saying, "You can't win, you fools. He writes the rules."
So I've got his Eagle list first for Mr. J. Clare. First thing I want to say before we actually review this is I saw a comment on a page. I can't remember if it was GBHL, just like, why do they allow the rules writer to play in the events? Doesn't that seem like cheating? It's like, no, this guy was in the community. If anyone has a right to like play, like Jay does, he was like
I think it's people
winning tournaments and stuff.
I think it's the people that weren't around back then, or that don't play, where they're like, is it not a conflict of interests where the guy who writes the rules then takes part in tournaments? Whereas the way that it's happened and the way that most people see it is they've hired someone who went to tournaments and won games.
I'd rather have someone like Jay writing the rules. I'd rather have someone who actually plays the game competitively and does really well at tournaments write the rules than someone who doesn't. Because, I don't know, he'll have better knowledge.
Competitive players, obviously, are going to be better at writing rules. Not all competitive players are going to be good at writing rules.
Yeah.
But someone who's good at writing rules is going to be competent at playing the game effectively. So.
Because it's like, I remember there was a time, because me and Josh used to play loads of 40k, and I remember there was a time when a bunch of books came out, and it was obvious that these guys were not like competitive players.
It was also
bad. The balance was awful.
It was the old situation where they always released better books so that people would buy the new book and the new armies. It was like I can't remember what it was. It was like Blood Angels, Imperial Guard, Space Wolves,
definitely the
Grey
Blood
Knights.
Angels book when Mephiston came out. Holy.
Yeah, Grey Knights was like the real breaking point, I think.
Yeah.
Blood Angels was, I think, where it started, and then it got to Grey Knights. People were like, this is absurd.
Yeah.
But
so very happy with Jay around the rules.
Dewey's pointed out that if he'd have gotten 2 more tournament points from the game votes, he would have won the event. But to be fair to him, he did get 4 favourite game and 5... Wait, where is it?
Question.
Yeah, 4 favourite game and 5 favourite army, so he got 9 of 12 votes.
Did you vote for him, Josh?
I did indeed.
Okay.
He said he voted for me. I don't know how true that is.
Well, we don't know how true your claim is.
I definitely did vote for him.
You could have been those 2 points. You could have not voted.
I could have been those 2 points. If I hadn't have voted for him, I would have knocked him all the way down to like 14th. But no. So
back to the list. So we've got Jay's Corsair list first. So we've got Dalmir, who's leading 8 warriors with shield, 5 with spear, and 4 with spear shield. Then Dalgamir, the new guy, with 7. Is he Fowler?
He has to be. If he's leading 14, then I'm going to say yes.
Yeah. So Dalgamir with 7 Corsair warriors with shield, 7 with spear, Corsair captain with crossbow, 11 arbalesters, Corsair bosun with crossbow, and 5 arbalesters. Yeah, he is, apparently.
I got the crossbow number slightly wrong. Yeah, he is.
Have I?
No, I did. I've always been saying he had 20. He only has 19.
Yes.
Like it matters.
Yeah, 17 warriors and 2 heroes. So, on paper, you'd be like, going to this event, Jay's bringing a Corsair list. What an idiot. You then see the list and realise he's got 19 crossbows shooting you. You are terrified, even with blinding light.
He has 19 crossbows and like 40 throwing weapons.
Yeah.
So, and what was funny, you desperately hope you don't draw this list in Ilmet by Moonlight, right?
Clash by Moonlight, but yeah.
Yeah, that one, yeah.
Poor Will champion.
Which Will did game 1. Game 1, it was what, first place in the league, played 3rd place in the league from last year?
I know, 118 player tournament.
It was so funny, because we were all, there was Calman, me, Jay, Will, Dan Hookvale, and like a couple of other people all on this row that were all like competitive players, and we were like, this is insane. And when it was Jay and Will that matched up, everyone else was like, oh, thank God, because we all
dodged that.
Yeah, we all dodged that.
Yeah,
the Arbalester front line is one of the big things with a pure Corsair list is they're going to get shot to pieces. And the thing that this list does is it outshoots most armies, and even if there's a situation where it somehow doesn't outshoot, you can put the Arbalesters on the front, and then you have defense 6 front line versus shooting. It doesn't have any Reavers.
No.
That's the point.
It's kind of cool in the fact that it's actually pretty good into good armies, because one, the Corsairs kill a lot of things. The crossbows will kill a lot of stuff. Because maybe not dwarves, but against most men, most elves, those crossbows are going to do a lot of work. You then got the throwing daggers, which are once again going to do a lot of work. They're also relatively high courage on Corsairs.
And they're courage 3, I think.
Is it only 3?
And they're just men. Fight 4 men with throwing weapons.
But the fact that they are 3 rather than the 2 of like orcs is really good against Army of the Dead.
Yeah, it's the fight 4 that really helps them into Army of the Dead.
And
They're winning most fights.
And
especially when you've got
crossbows.
Delgamar and Bosa. Yeah, the crossbows with them on 6s, which is really nice.
I think Jay did an interview and he actually mentioned the fact that one of the reasons he took them was because he expected a lot of Army of the Dead. Like,
yeah, there was a lot of Army of the Dead about.
I think it was the most popular list, right?
It was joint most popular, yeah, with someone else.
Iron Hills, I think.
Might have been, yeah.
But yeah, I still think this would do alright in Evil v Evil.
Yeah, it's scary. It's a huge amount of Fight 4 models. It's a huge amount of crossbows. It's just not really doing anything that crazy besides just being a horde of Fight 4 throwing weapon crossbows.
Yeah.
But the heroes aren't that good. They're okay, but it doesn't bring a lot of might. I think it's got... I guess it's got 9 might, actually. So I forgot Delgamar had 3.
Amount, yeah.
And Dalamir's actually 2 now. He used to be 1. But he's still not a great army leader. Like, he has the Elven Cloak, but he's only defense 4 with 2 wounds.
And the smoke bombs as well, right?
Yeah, but they're not that good.
No, because it's just transfix, isn't it? So you still same fire
It's
value
the old channel transfix, but all you have to do to dodge it is expend the will point. And because you don't have a caster in this list, you're going to have will points to spare on your heroes. It's not really that big a deal.
I know, it's not really got too much interesting.
No, it's just a huge amount of Fight 4 models and a huge amount of 19 crossbows is...
Yeah.
Jesus. Because they're defense 6, even like blinding light elves probably don't outshoot you. But let's say you've got 8 elves in blinding light. You're gonna average with the bonus 7 or 8 hits and then 1 kill, and then they're gonna get 3 hits on you, and probably kill 1 or 2, and they've got more models than you.
I guess one thing you'd do with the elves though is you'd shoot back rank, right?
Yeah, but if you're shooting the normal Corsairs, then you're not thinning out the crossbows.
Yeah.
You're eventually just going to lose that shooting war. It outshoots almost every army in the game. You probably wouldn't outshoot Harad with the Shadow Lord, but you don't have to play that match.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really scary. Again, it's just a horde. It's a good horde.
Would not want to play it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to play this either.
I don't think I'd want to play with it either.
It's not that interesting.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's cool, but yeah, it's not doing it. It's not like Barney's list where you've got a bunch of different stuff going on. It's just a lot of the same.
It's cool to see a Corsairs win. I also didn't mention first time Jay's won a GT.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think that's.
I remember him saying he wanted to compete for this one.
Yeah, and we've now the 3 champions are Dave Nolan, Ed Ball, and Jay Clare.
A reasonable.
Which a very reasonable 3 if you're going to take any 3 from the community.
Dave Nolan almost got his second.
Yeah,
very almost, and then a single Grimhammer decided to yeet an axe into Gulliver and put an end to it.
Throw an axe to the face. Poor Dave. Poor Dave.
Just this image of a dwarf yeeting like a sign with just the word "loss" on it. Dave.
I don't think Dave's going to hear the end of this.
No. I felt kind of bad for him, to be honest, but it was so funny. Like I didn't hear about it until way afterwards, but just all the jokes that have come out of it are hilarious.
Just seeing it happen on stream.
I haven't seen the stream yet.
So watching on the stream, and it's like, so going into this, it was going to the last round. It was Jay, George, and Dave were all the only people undefeated going to the last round. And it got to near the end of the game, and Ben Bailey came over and was just like, so George has lost. It looks like Jay's losing. And then they just look at the board, it's like, oh my god, it's so close. It's like if I think David lost 1 less model, it'd have been a draw, which meant that he won. But because he lost that model, everyone in the chat was like, who's won? We don't know who's won.
It was really cool at the event too, because a load of people were hunting around asking for other people's scores like they do at events, but it was the first event I think I've ever been to,
we just don't know,
or like in a long time, where no one had any idea
Yeah.
top 3. Like, it could have been any one of like 15 play. To be fair, and people on 4-2, if they'd got like Dewey did, if they'd got like 100 votes, they could have won. So there was like, of the 120 people at the event, roughly 50 of them could have won the event, which is like insane.
Also, I think Chris was also in chat and at one point pointed out that Ian McGregor went into the last round with 4 wins and a draw. So if he'd beaten Barney, then he'd have won the event. It'd be like, oh, it was awesome.
It was really entertaining.
Cool.
Do you want to do his good list?
What wouldn't be entertaining is playing this good list.
Yeah, there were a few variants of this Army of the Dead list about. This is pretty much the best build of it at this point.
I think so, yeah.
A couple of people put Gimli. I know Damien put Gimli in his too.
Mm-hmm.
But the warriors you lose are like such a big deal.
Oh, as well as this?
Yeah, as well.
Because
you wanted all 3 hunters, but it drops you to I think about 17 or 18 Army of the Dead, which is just too few. Or it's like 20 total models or something. But it's Aragorn. It's the Legion, so it's Aragorn who has Anduril, and he's a 6-inch banner for spirits, with 8 Warriors of the Dead. The King of the Dead, who's a Harbinger of Evil, with 7 Warriors of the Dead, and then Legolas with 7 Warriors of the Dead.
Doesn't Aragorn count as a banner for Legolas as well?
No, it's just in the Legion. It's just spirit model, so it's not himself and it's not Legolas.
No, what am I thinking? That might be an old rule or something.
King of Lassar's a 6-inch banner for everyone. That's what you're thinking of.
No, I can't remember.
And then there was the old Aragorn Strider in the Rangers profile that was a 3-inch banner for everyone.
That's what it was. The Strider one, because that was for the Dune Harbour rather than Gimli and Legolas.
Yeah, and Legolas and Gimli.
Yeah, it's a grim list.
Nails. It's nails. Like
you don't kill it, and it just walks through you because it strikes your courage, especially against evil.
It gets a free 6-inch banner, which almost everyone in the army normally.
Yeah.
Aragorn's a monster with Anduril for free. Harbinger of Evil with Army of the Dead is crazy strong.
Erebor, apparently.
That was the old 3-inch banner rule. I think that was the name of the profile that had the 3-inch banner rule, is what I think it was. But Legolas is really, really good in this list, actually, because he gives you shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's strong shooting inside of one model. It gives you a lot of sort of versatility that you wouldn't otherwise have.
You get to snipe out horses, which is actually pretty big for this list.
You can threaten things like shamans.
Yeah.
If Legolas puts 2 or 3 shots into a shaman, spends some might, kills him. That's a big problem for a lot of lists into this.
Shooting warhorns as well, if they're out in the open.
It means that armies with ring wraiths can't just kite you around to try and black dart. Double wraith, you still can, but it's a lot riskier. You can't just sort of run around it in circles and try and catch the odd dude and kite the odd model out in the same way that you could if it didn't have Legolas.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's not like a broken list or anything, but it's a pain for a lot of armies to play against and to play into it. Especially because it's good to be evil. Evil armies don't have good courage generally, so a lot of them you just courage 3 down to 2 or 2 down to 1.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're on 1 courage, you're just losing this game. There's nothing you can do into the Army of the Dead on 1 courage.
I think if you're doing good versus evil nowadays, if you have the option and you want to go competitive, you take a warhorn.
A lot of people have been flexing warhorns into the list that they can't get shamans into.
Well, when I played Quinn at Sterling and he had an Army of the Dead list, the fact that I had a warhorn actually made the game playable. If I didn't have that warhorn, it was an instant loss. Guarantee Quinn's going to put something in the chat about it being a free win for him. But it actually made it a relatively close game because I had the warhorn against eagles. It's really good against eagles. The fact that people are running so much Kurdan as well.
Yeah, Mordor can get away without it because of their army bonus.
Yeah.
Because it takes them up to 3 again. It takes Black Numenorians up to courage 5, which is really good.
Yeah, only if you can reliably keep it though. If you're not going for a crazy horde.
But most armies that cause terror army-wide, you're going to outnumber, even with an average-sized army. Mm-hmm. It's either Army of the Dead or Kurdan Radagast builds.
I think for 39 points, something in the chat about it being a free win. 39 points for a Black Numenorian with Warhorn is actually not sweet.
Sorry, I'm just messaging Jay Acharya about his list.
Oh.
About the 16 elves in Glorfindel's warband.
Oh.
I've panicked him. He said, I think it was 16. I thought he was legend. It literally wouldn't have mattered at all.
Yeah.
Like, he would have had to put an elf in the Night warband, so it doesn't matter.
What was it? But yeah, Warhorns. If you're playing... Wait, that's almost as funny as Gethin thinking he had a chance of winning the game. Wow, Chris. You used to be my favourite Scott. You used to
He's
be.
been set... Was it... Who was it that said he was like smart? Yeah, it was Quinn.
Yeah.
We should rename Chris to Smaggle for the amount of burn he's dishing out. Come on, Star. What's happened today, Chris? You're just mean today.
Brutal, man. But yeah, in Good versus Evil especially, if you have a way of getting +1 courage or passing courage in your evil force, and you want to, obviously, if you want to go competitive, you got to. If you're doing themed, not as much. But if you want to be winning games, I think you need to get shamans or warhorns or the army bonuses or drums.
Yeah, if you don't... Yeah, shamans, you'll see a lot of people drop one in and then they'll just, all of the all game is a mode transfix you, because they don't need the Fury into alarm matchups because it's not that good anymore, but you just drop it in case you play against an army like this.
Yeah.
The other thing you can do is if you don't have access to any of those things, try and kill the King of the Dead. Like, it's really awkward, but he does only have 1 might, so he can only strike once, and he's only got 2 attacks, so he's not reliably rolling the 6. If you kill him, Harbinger's gone, and that's a really big deal into this type of army. You can snipe out that Harbinger. But again, they're not... Aragorn, Legolas kind of is, but Aragorn and the King of the Dead aren't easy heroes to snipe, because they're so good at fighting or tough. So...
2-inch defense 8 with the fate point on the king? Oh no,
2-inch defense... He's got 3 fate.
Is it 3?
It's 163, yeah.
That's it, 163, yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Jay said...
in the chat.
Yeah, you're reading Chris and Quinn, and Jay's messaged me saying, "Oh dear, I can't wait to listen to the stream." But yeah, they're cool lists to win the tournament. I think for this one, you had to have cool lists to win.
Yes, definitely agree with that. So that's all the lists we're going to be chatting about for this episode. I'm just gonna throw it over to just us. So we're gonna have a look at that question that got sent in, aren't we? It's gonna be it's brief. The heroics.
I don't remember. Oh.
Yeah. So we asked because I think in our first stream we spoke about all the new heroics and what we think. We were asked to just basically give our opinions now because we've been playing for a few months.
I'm pretty sure I said to you that
anything changed, really.
I think the same thing that I thought when I came out.
Yeah.
Let's race through these, where are they?
So, we can start off heroic move. Yeah.
Heroic move's still really good. It's still the best one. It's still the one you're going to use the most often.
Yeah, heroic shoot.
It's really meh. You might occasionally use it. If you're trying to win a shoot-off. Like, sometimes people will go in a shoot-off and they'll see how the first turn will go. And then you might call a heroic shoot to try and get one up on that. Because once you've killed a few archers, it really swings in one person's favour, but generally it doesn't happen.
Heroic combat.
They're really useful.
Can be useful, they also backfire a lot.
We
expect them to fail.
The joke is that whenever you call a heroic combat, unless you stack 10 dudes on it, it's going to fail. But that's typically what they're used for. You trap it with a hero and 5 other dudes, guarantee the kill, and they all get to move again. Or you get to swing your heroes onto their heroes. Stuff like that. So it's being able to move again out of sequence is useful. Dewey,
you are the exception to the rule because you're playing fiefdoms. So heroic shoot is amazing if you play fiefdoms and have Dunir with Black Veil Archers, because they get from the heroic shoot they get rerolls to wound.
Something stupid like that.
That's really good. If you're playing
it's also on a hero.
fiefdoms,
I'm pretty sure there's only 2 other heroics at accuracy and defense, so he's literally got terrible other heroics.
So he just throws 3 all his might at them. But yeah,
if you tack on another special rule to heroic shoot where it's they'll get to reroll to wound, then yeah, it's probably pretty good. But I heroic combated off the Witch King on Feldies. did he strike up against you? Because that's real risky.
I think Resolve?
Terrible.
I think I've seen. I think I played Dan once when he had his Eagles with Gandalf, and he called it once against me. That was it.
I've called it once with Aragorn because he's got a 3-point might, but it's if you could move, it'd be okay. It'd be like usable because you can't. It's like so, sometimes you'll call a heroic resolve to like try and dodge and immobilize, and they'll go, "Okay, I just won't charge you this turn. I won't immobilize. I'll just save the will."
Just do it next turn.
But yeah, it's like it's really bad. If it was you can resist all magic too, then maybe. If it was like just he resists all magic, something like that, it'd be maybe okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the fact that you just get 1 free dice to resist. It's like sometimes I'd rather just have the might to up my own dice roll.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like affects all you do, so it's like okay, but it's still not that good. Maybe against Nature's Wrath, but even then, it's a real coin toss on whether it even works. You're only rolling 1 dice.
So we've got Dewey called. Alright, so Dune here called 1, Full on called 1 because Dune here also called a heroic accuracy, and then his Tribesmaster called 1 with blowpipes to shoot elves.
Yeah, I mean, he had like 30 blowpipes in his Mahudlet. Yeah. I was like thanking the gods.
You were playing Gondor.
Yeah, that I had blinding light and it was recon, so he couldn't shoot at me. Yeah. Like I would be terrified of that. No.
And then what? So Chris was saying that the Fell Beast failed to stop and compel, and then got surrounded by Hearthguard, Durin, and elves.
So it's not as risky as it sounded initially.
That'll do it, yeah.
Trapped by Hearthguard and Durin pretty much guarantees the kill.
Yeah.
Heroic March.
One of the most useful.
It's good, yeah. I mean, you won't use it super often.
It's very scenario based.
You'll use it in Seize the Prize, almost always, like to move up first turn. And you might use it in Recon occasionally.
Maybe in Recon, maybe Storm the Camp and Heirlooms.
Yeah, Storm the Camp, not as often as you think, to be honest, because normally it's just a fight, and then the Maelstrom wants to get to the right place if you come on in the wrong place.
But you're probably not using this in, like, To the Death or Lords of Battle, really.
Nah. Unless you're really scared of their shooting.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice to have in a list. Most lists try to get it in just for Seize the Prize, mostly, but you can get away without it.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's alright.
Heroic Channel.
It's pretty bad. You can use it.
Yeah, I think the only times...
A lot of people regularly channel Blinding Light.
Yeah, Blinding Light, you generally do it. If you've got the new Thranduil and Circle of Kings, you'll channel the Aura Dismay maybe, just because it's free. It's the risk if you spend the might and then fail to cast, and then or spend more might to do it.
You spend the might and then they call a heroic move, and then you've got to counter with another hero. The roll off. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with it.
Sometimes Nature's Wrath is against certain opponents.
Yeah, it's just risky. Yeah. Like it can be useful, but it's just risky. You've got to have heroic channel now, so the new Thranduil can't do it.
That is a very good point. I'm thinking old Thranduil.
I don't think he has it. I'll check.
He probably doesn't.
I'd be really surprised if he has it.
Yeah, I'm still thinking the old Thranduil. I haven't played really the new one since the new edition. Well, Josh is looking. Next up, heroic accuracy.
Doesn't have it.
Once again, heard someone say, yeah, I think you just said they didn't, does he?
No, he doesn't have channel.
No. Heroic accuracy, it's once again a potentially good, but not used a lot.
It always sounds better than it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's still useful to like snipe out like a hero behind a couple ranks of troops if you've got enough foes. But what I always find is I spend it and then it makes almost no difference. It makes either no difference or almost no difference. So,
I think it only... If it's two heavy shooting armies against each other, you might do it just to get through to
that
their
bowman.
Yeah.
But or if you really want to shoot through it like a 1-wound hero or or like a Kurdan or something, you've got maybe a turn where you can shoot him. But generally
not really seeing it. Heroic Strike still as powerful as ever, even more powerful now, because
just because heroes are a big deal and fewer models have it.
Yeah.
You need Strike in your list.
I think
almost always.
Yeah, you pretty much don't write a list without a Strike.
Yeah, you always want one. Like preferably, typically the way I write it is you want one march and at least 2 strikes, and then you're okay. But just because you can't really threaten big heroes if you don't have heroic strike, because immobilize doesn't cut it anymore, and like channel immobilize is so hard to resolve.
Yeah.
So it's not really good.
Heroic defense, I think it's
It's alright, it's
It's
useful.
powerful on some heroes, situational on others. If you're like
Some really weird heroes have it.
if you're like defense 8, like your Dwal, I don't even know if Dwal's got it, but some of the champions that are above got it. If they've got it, it's probably not useful unless you're against Azog or Andoril. Master of Lake Town, it's pretty good.
Yeah, Master has it. Does he have it? Wait.
Yeah, pretty sure it does.
I mean, Arwen has it.
Oh yeah, Arwen's got it. Which is pretty crazy.
And Frodo has it, which I can vaguely understand.
That's because Mithril coat, isn't
yeah,
it?
gambling with the banner. Yeah, but he doesn't have to have the coat on while he has it. It's better to not have the coat on when you do it, which is like gambling with the banner because you can call it every turn because you've got the free might. It's probably my favourite of the new ones because it's actually the most helpful.
If you're on the floor, it can be useful, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, Master of Lake Town's got heroic defense. Braga's got heroic defense.
Neat. Heroic strength is bad. It's like it's like a non-factor. No one ever strikes.
The only time I've ever strengthed was at Throne of Skulls when I had Grumbold against a chariot because I went two-handed piercing strike, heroic strength, to go up to strength 8 to wound the chariot on 3s.
Wait, which chariot?
Iron Hills.
Iron Hills. Yeah, I mean, like you can use it in tandem with like 3 or 4 other dudes.
Yeah.
Maybe someone who's striking, trapping, to like kill something really big. But generally, it's bad.
Generally, you don't want to spend your might on it. You want to use the might for other things.
You're almost always trapping when you're doing it because normally you're spending a might point to up your strength.
Mm-hmm.
That might point you can just use to wound anyway.
Yeah.
If you don't, so it's like, and it's more consistent if you use it to wound. Because let's say you need 5s normally, and the strength takes it to 4s. Well, you might not roll any 4s. You might only roll like 5s or 3s or less.
Yeah.
So it's just unreliable.
One thing that can be really good for heroic strength is to stop hurling.
Because what's you cut out for me?
To stop hurling, because you need to be a higher strength to hurl. So if you're in a situation where you're pretty much guaranteed to lose the combat, or they could get a really strong hurl off, you could heroic strength to stop it.
Or heroic strength to hurl further.
If you win it, yeah.
Yeah, if you're like Gullivar, because I think he has strength. He goes up to strength 10, hurls a hobbit like 8 or 11 inches. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Heroic challenge is still pretty bad.
Yeah, I still see like no use in it.
If you say it, your opponent's either going to go, yes, thank you, I'll kill you and take my might back.
I think
or no, and then you lose a might. So.
I still think the only use for it, there's an argument for Shagrat because he's like a fortitude hero, potentially Raza as well now. But the main thing I can use it, see it being used for is against cavalry armies because they need the heroic moves. But
yeah, I mean, you could do it to like Merry.
Really.
Oh no, because Merry's independent, so no one can do it to him. Like, you use like Aragorn because he has a free might every turn, and then these heroes that you're going to do it to are probably just going to say yes, kill you, and then take their might back because they're better than you. It's not very good.
I think
the fact that you can decline it for almost no penalty, and if they declined it and you kept the might point because they declined it, it'd be fine. It'd actually be quite good then, and situate, because then you could like, let's say I somehow got Shagrat into combat with Theoden, who's hiding at the back somewhere, trying to just be a buff. Well, now I call a heroic challenge and puts you in an awkward position, whereas normally it's just a waste of a might point.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all of them.
Yeah, that's all of them. So pretty much the same. As much change really. I think I'm more interested in March because I didn't realize how painful it was to lose it.
Yeah, it's a pain to lose it. It's harder to weave into lists now because normally the heroes that have it you don't really want to take.
Especially
some heroes like good's easier than evil, I think, right? I mean, good's. There's a couple of big heroes that have it, like Aragorn, Day, and Suladan. It's easy enough to get in there. Madrigal has it, which is nice. Gambling has it. I think a lot of good armies.
I was thinking about there are no
the elf
builds. Yeah, I was gonna say
the elf builds struggle to get it in because the only captains have it for them.
Yeah.
So
Gondor got too much march. Gondor's got way too much march.
They don't actually have a huge amount of march.
They have like new heroes got march.
No, because they either have strike or march. So Aragorn's got it, Madrigal's got it. Irolas, which is the Citadel Guard one, has it, and I think it's captain. So I think it's 4 marches in the army. But Madrigal comes into like Maybe Faramir or someone.
Yeah.
I don't think Faramir does actually. Don't know. I think that's all of them. Cirion has Strike, Ingold has Strike, Hurin has Strike. They don't have, none of them have March. Merry doesn't have March. Pippin doesn't have March, so shame. But no, it's you want to get it in if you can, but it's not like don't like kill an army list for it.
No. But it makes like Gurrett's even better.
Yeah, those heroes that are like
beautiful
you want to take anyway, that also have March, like Madril and Gurret. It's like sweet.
It's really good, yeah.
They cover 2 points at one. 2 points inside of one model. So.
Yes.
Is it just Desolation of Stockport then coming up?
Yeah, so spoke about the 2 events and briefly about that. So a bit of a look to the future. So first off, I think I put together like a brief timetable to work out all the future streams.
Don't tell them about the timetable because we're definitely not going to keep to it.
And yeah, well, I haven't like penciled in like days and stuff. Let's just say Josh will not be doing every single stream because there's a lot.
No. There's like one every like week or something.
I think I've got planned between now and the end of the year. Don't quote me on this because this may not all happen.
It will not all happen.
21 streams.
Yeah, this is like
and that's combining. I think there's a couple of 100-point tournaments and the ETC on their own. That's not taken into account. We were thinking about doing an ETC pre-review, like.
I'd be interested to do an ETC. It's just a conflict of interests because I'm taking part.
We can have a look at them. There's a couple of 100-point events on their own, but then every other stream is like 2 events in one. Yeah. There's so many events.
We probably won't be able to do them all. Gethin might try, but
I'd like to try. If I
won't.
Josh won't, so I will be getting guests on. And talking about guests, so our next stream, so the next 2 events coming up for GBHL is the Mark Kempster's Bicester event, which if you haven't already and you are interested, there are still some tickets available for that. The venue looks amazing. I don't know if you've seen it, Josh, but it's like a country,
clubhouse.
Yeah, it's like a country club type place. It looks really cool. So you can make it onto that.
What you get when you go down south, isn't it?
Yeah.
The country club.
So that's an 100-point event, and then you've got Desolation of Stockport, which there are a couple of people on the page are selling tickets for, actually.
Yeah, if there's, you should be able to find a ticket.
Might be able to grab one.
There's like so many people like that. We're both going to that.
So we're both going to that. However, we're not going to Bicester. So Mr. Dewey is going to be helping us out and is actually going to be joining us for the stream to discuss both Bicester and Stockport. So he's going along. So I've asked Mark for the top 3 list at the end of it, and then we can also talk to Dewey about how the event went and how he found it and stuff. And then I don't think Dewey's going to Stockport, but we can still discuss with him.
We're going to Stockport, so it should be alright.
It's pronounced Bister, is it?
I have no clue.
Josh is an English guy, so I trust him.
Not geography. I don't do all of the places.
It's a word.
Yeah, but it's a name.
I don't speak.
You just pick how you want your name pronounced.
Yeah. Not going to Stockport, and yes, Bister. Okay, so the Bister event coming up, Dewey is going to, but he's not going to Stockport, but me and Josh are, so we'll be talking about that. Stockport is the first weekend in April, so it's going to be after that at some point, and and we'll discuss with Dewey the date, and then we'll throw that up on the page and share it on the Great British Hobby League and other pages.
Let you know when we know.
Yeah. Quick thought on what I'm taking. Radion Slay, Guahir, 4 Eagles. I wouldn't take the Slay. But yeah, it seems pretty cool.
It seems annoying.
Yeah. Take a Radion Horse with Sebastian. It's better. But yeah, that just seemed like a pretty cool.
It seems funny. I'd hate to play it.
I'm from Scotland. It is closer to the equator than to me.
I don't know if that's true.
Maybe not. My geography's not that great, but not sure on that, Chris. But yeah, so with Stockport in a few weeks, do you actually know what you're going to be taking? Or do you not want to say?
I've got ideas. It's testing for ETC, so I'm gonna.
Okay, so you don't want to
keep it close to the chest.
You don't want to leak it with Chris watching.
Yeah, you tell me off.
You
see how cruel he's been? I haven't even done anything wrong, and he's been cruel to me anyway. All I did was lose a game on the stream.
Yeah. I'm still not sure.
Mahud, baby. That's what you're bringing,
I'm thinking Mahud, but it depends. One, if I get it painted in time, and two, if James will let me use my Half Trolls and Campbells as Mahud Kings, because I've only got the one Mahud King model. A converted. I wanted Gethin and
It's just cruel. Can we wrap up, please? I am interested in your thing. Oh, you mean for ETC? I thought you meant on the stream.
Oh no.
I don't know if that hurts more or less. Dale's included, so I guess it hurts less.
Yeah. I don't think you won't. Maybe Dewey, but probably not me over Josh and Dale. But yeah, so
2 better players though. Wow. He says after losing to Dewey.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Gotta prove it, mate. But yeah, so I'm waiting on the email back from James at some point, and also if I actually get it painted in time, I'll probably run the Mahud. If not, probably Rohan.
Is it going to be Rohan Elves with Radagast?
Probably not.
Probably.
I think no, probably not.
Not.
I think I've given up on Helmingers.
Really?
It's hard to admit.
You can't give up on Helmingers, man. I made a meme for you in Helmingers.
Theodred, Theoden, Gambling, 1 Son of Aeol, 1 Outrider, and then Riders.
Is the Son of Aeol just because you have a model for it?
Yes. I'm not seeing the light. Is dark and dim down here with no Helmingers in the world.
The way to think about it is that all the riders are actually Helmingers because they go to strength 4 on the charge.
Maybe I shouldn't take Theoden and take Grumbold instead.
No. Take because you can't put Grumbold on a horse, but I'm pretty sure you can take a Rohan captain with a 2-handed axe, put him on a horse, call him Grumbold.
Okay, who wants to give me a loan so I can buy a Grumbold model?
Oh, you can't take a 2-handed weapon.
Can we not? Oh. See.
Do any other Rohan heroes?
I take back everything I said about liking Jay as a rules writer. He's awful. Yeah, I want Helmingers to come back. A bit in the Grumbold can't take off. Well, I'm pretty sure they said like the reason that he doesn't. Obviously, the main reason that he doesn't have a horse is when they made Grumbold, it was for War of the Ring, and they just never made him on a model with a horse. So they don't put it as a profile because they haven't got a model. I don't want to make it. But I'm pretty sure, I think someone said on the stream, I believe it was Jay, I'm just going to throw him under the bus here, but I believe Jay said that the reason is because it's a different Grumbold, or something like that.
The answer is they didn't make one, so you can't have one.
Yeah, that's it.
They're never going to say it on stream, but the answer is no.
He's not the Grumbold from the film, is the main reason as far as I'm aware. Yeah. I'm not happy. I'm not happy.
Could you ally in to represent him? You need a model on a horse with a 2-handed axe.
I don't think anything.
Forlong! He's not got a 2-handed axe, but he's strength 5 with a lance.
Thryden.
Thryden's evil. You can't ally him in.
Boom!
I was aware that Thryden exists.
I love it. Dave Shearer, I love it.
I've just put Thryden in, man. You know, so just go the whole way, right?
Just go bog. Grumbold is the Grumbold is the Rohan equivalent of Dave in SBG. In the movies, Grumbold has a Somerset accent. It's hilarious. Why is Grumbold the Rohan equivalent of David? Oh, he means the name. Oh, okay. I'm assuming Chris means. That's what I was like, what? But I assume Chris means the name, just David. Just everyone in Rohan is just called Grumbold.
Ally Elendil, he's got a 2-handed weapon.
It's not an axe.
So?
It's not an axe. I gotta pay. Gotta pay points.
You
I know, I can't even pay points. That's illegal.
It's named. You said it's illegal, like you're accusing me. I never said it. It was you that did it. I don't know what you can take. I don't think there's anything.
I don't think there's anything good with a two-handed weapon.
And a sword.
There are loads of them.
Horse.
None of them have horse though. It's a sad time. It's a sad time.
Well, if you can think of one, guys, let us know.
Let us know, and yeah, I'll be happy.
Yeah. So we'll see you after Stockport during the next stream, or at Stockport if you're there.
Yeah, if you're at Stockport, hopefully see you guys there. Maybe play you. You'll get a free win against Josh.
Okay. Just randomly flaming that. This is just getting out of hand. You could take an elf captain on a horse and go two-handed every turn with his elven blade, but it wouldn't be an axe.
Dwalin on Goat has a two-handed axe.
Yeah, but it's a goat. It's not a horse.
I can make it happen.
Treebeard, strength 8, man. Just run him.
It's not got an axe.
Alright, run an Ent with an axe.
Boromir, swap that.
We're 121.
Boromir's got a hand and a half sword.
No, he doesn't.
Does he not?
No, Quinn's just making
Quinn lying to me?
He's just got a sword.
Quinn?
We've been over this. Fryden's evil. Going in circles.
There's no way he's got two hand. Wait.
Boromir's got a sword. I've got the page open. He's just got a sword.
Yeah. You got a Lendil, as you said.
Tom Bombadil.
A Sildor. Change all the Helmingers to Dunlending.
He's not got an axe. Change all of them. Yeah, okay.
Aragorn, give him an axe.
You can't give him an axe. He's named.
I don't care. I'm giving him an axe.
He's cheating at this point.
But yeah, High Elf's probably the best.
Take Bandabris Tuck. Tuck an axe.
Yeah, the High Elf captain is probably the best bet.
Yeah, you just can't piercing strike. Oh, boo-hoo.
You can't. Pay for it. Oh no,
yeah, but it's not two-handed, because it's just a one-handed axe.
No, it goes one in the hand. Don't you still get one in the hand? You just don't get Elven made. If you
if you buy an item, you just get a one-handed version of the item.
Just Josh, this is everything happened in Scotland.
Dude, cheating at events doesn't get you disqualified. You heard JHRia's 16 models in Glorfindel's Warband? Came third. It's how you podium.
That's just mean. He's not here to defend himself.
You know, I've already made the point that it made literally no difference to any of his games. I didn't even see them, and I'm confident it made no difference. But yeah, I think we should wrap this up now because I'm hungry.
No, we need to talk about
but I did eat too.
We need to talk more about our Lord and Saviour Grumbled.
Alright, well, we'll do it off stream. You can cut all of this out for the YouTube video.
I don't edit these. What's it called? Biffa or Bofa on Pony.
It's not a horse. Get over this.
The editing software I use literally can't edit these videos down. Well, I can edit it into small chunks, but it can't export like over an hour videos. So that's why I just take it. It's a wee horse. I just take it and just throw it on the YouTube. So you get the loading screen, the ending screen, and all of the amazing banter.
All of the rubbish stuff around the other rubbish stuff.
Yeah. But yeah.
We'll wrap up there.
That'll be a wrap up so Josh can stop complaining and go and...
We're doing nothing for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, so thanks everyone for tuning in. Thank you everyone who is watching on YouTube. And we will throw up on the page, on the Facebook page, basically when we're going to be doing the next stream of... I've forgotten. Bista?
Oh, Bista. I was like, fuck. I thought you found the name of the channel.
No. Yeah, so when we're doing the stream for Bista and Stockport with Dewey, we'll throw that up on the page. So yeah,
Alright.
thank you guys for watching and see you guys
See
later.
you next time.